All right, everybody. Welcome to Generation Skating, as I joke. Generation Spacing here on twitch.tv/jchensor. This is the podcast with your favorite commentators in the FGC where we talk about whatever the heck we feel like it. And how's it going, guys?
Sleepy.
Yeah, I think we all established before the stream started that we are just kind of tired.
This is going to be a low energy generation spacing.
I mean, that's what generation spacing here is for, right? Like to get us our energy back.
Yeah, there you go.
The
There
whole
you go.
means we talk about some shit and we get our energy back.
Oh man.
Or at least hopefully.
I am sitting here with Cat in lap right now, as you can see here.
The big fur ball.
The big chunk.
You mean as they can see? We can't see because you have issues with Discord, and cameras, and
Damn, I can't believe we're just gonna call out James.
Technology,
Shannington like
dude.
that.
I hate technology, dude.
don't you have multiple cameras?
I do have that's what I'm doing. I use multiple cameras, but the thing about it is when XSplit comes up, it like tries to get all the cameras, especially the one. I wonder if, because the thing is, I have one presentation in XSplit that has all of my views for all of the stuff on my channel, and some of those
It could be
views,
that,
yeah. So some of those views use that camera, and so it's probably conflicting in a weird way or something like
I
that.
would say you
so-
would have to set a different profile simply so that it doesn't automatically attempt to take the cameras.
Yeah, or something like that. I know that there's also the ability to make it so that it's not loaded or something like that when the scene isn't loaded. So I'll have to look.
Yeah, definitely turn that off. At the
Yeah,
same,
I'll have to look
if
those
you're gonna
up,
start doing
so.
that.
Yeah, and shout outs to Master PPV for the continued subscription, 29 months now. So thank you.
Big thanks.
Yep. Master PPV, guy I've met in real life, very cool guy. So
Man, what happened to Master P?
Master P?
Oh, you should know, James. You're old. Make him say, na 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 na.
Oh, music
No Limit
reference.
Soldiers. He
Music-
had a gold tank.
Dude,
most people.
I have very
transition
bad
to
music
producer.
knowledge. I have a gap in music knowledge during like between a certain period of time. So it's just like I just stopped listening to the radio and I knew nothing that was going on. So I have like this
To be
blind
fair,
spot.
It was like a real low point in rap, I think.
Oh yeah,
Late 90s was not great.
Did
yeah,
you not just transition to producer?
I mean, probably. I don't know.
yeah. That's another problem
In the back
too.
of my head is telling me that he became a producer instead, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and then that's the other problem too is I'm also not very well versed in rap music, to be honest. So it's just
Yeah, it's what the kids listen to. It's not.
exactly right. It's just what the kids listen to, man.
Out of my yard with your skateboards. And
I mean, the rap that I'm listening to
Your
is the rap by
skateboards?
two Japanese girls who don't really speak English very well. You know, that's the rap that I listen to. So I would play it for you right now, but obviously I can't because then we'd get
yeah, you're gonna get DMCA.
we're gonna get Devil May Cry, dude.
Yeah, Devil May Cry Advance.
Devil May
I wonder if people are realizing now that Twitch is like the biggest fuck you to copyright in existence in America.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because
Probably the biggest.
literally any game company, any producer, any dev could be like, hey, you can't stream our shit anymore, and,
Yep.
and that's it.
And it's done. I like
Yeah,
that.
David talks about it all the time. How like not only do tournaments, but like how just our entire ecosystem of streaming and YouTube videos of any sort of game at all solely exists at the discretion of the game companies just not
Yep.
saying no.
Yeah.
Because they can just say no and that's it. We just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's
And
just
there
over.
are some games on Steam and such that say you cannot stream this game. Like they give you the warning. before you pull it
Really?
up. Yeah, I forget what they are, but there's like 3 or 4 that are,
Dang.
I don't want to say popular games, but they're real video games where they're just like, hey, you do not have permission to stream our shit. Here's your one and only warning.
That's crazy, dude.
It's probably due to also due to the fact that like you can stream stuff on Steam itself, so they probably have to tell you ASAP.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy
Actually,
how.
I don't think I know anybody who's ever streamed on Steam, but I know that you can. You have the ability to.
You can.
Yeah, because like I know, for example, that like, I mean, all these companies, a lot of them aren't going to stop the stream because they know it actually helps them a lot more. I mean,
Oh yeah, obviously.
especially the fighting game community. Jesus, if it wasn't for streaming, then there would be no fighting game community right now. I don't think so. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's a fact for pretty much any esport.
I guarantee you that if there was no streaming in tournaments for Street Fighter 4, there's zero possibility we would have reached Ultra Street Fighter 4. It would have stopped at Super or something like that, and that would have been the end of it.
Yeah, probably. I feel like it may be a little bit hard to get Arcade Edition. Or get to Arcade Edition.
Right. So, you know, especially the fighting game community. If any of the devs in the fighting game community are like, you can't stream our fighting game, like Nintendo tried.
Yeah. I definitely think a lot of the fighting game developers understand how strong of a marketing tool streaming actually is.
I mean,
I think all developers realize that for the most part.
And that's the worst part about it is, like, at least video games are modern enough to understand that, because, you know, this whole DMCA thing with the audio and the music, I mean, because I don't listen to particularly traditional music, I'm sitting here listening to weird bands like Chibomato and Asteroids Galaxy Tour on my stream, and, like, people are like, oh, this is actually kind of cool music. What is this? You know, and I'm, like, actually exposing people to new music, and then they might look into it and become fans, and, hey, look, word of mouth spreads popularity, and then people become fans and buy shit, you know, because
I really hope that people who have been, like, tweeting at artists and such and asking for permission to use their music, I really, really hope that they understand that the artists probably don't actually own that music, so even if they say you can do that, they probably can't. The publisher
David
and the
said the
label
same
are, like,
thing.
the owners of the music.
Yeah, David said that it doesn't matter. They don't own the music anymore, so... Oh, dude, someone in the chat...
I remember T-Pain had to stream himself making songs that could specifically be used.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not like he can license the music that he doesn't own, despite the fact that he made it, kind of deal.
Dude, I'm glad somebody in the chat actually knows about Asteroids Galaxy Tour. That's awesome. Oh, man.
We don't know about your old man music, James.
It's actually not old man music. It's actually more modern stuff. It's like weird Euro synth pop kind of thing, and it's really good. It's really good.
Can you imagine James Chen in the club in Germany just getting into some Astro Galaxy
grinding? James is definitely grinding in Germany.
That's what do you think I did when I went to Germany for the army gig, man? That's the first thing I did.
Is that what it was? Yeah, you went to the clubs.
I just went to the clubs. Yeah, exactly. That's totally. I mean,
where are the artists I crave?
Everybody knows. Everybody can tell from me that I'm one of those EDM, you know, clubbing kind of guys. You know? Definitely.
James Chen never done a drug in his life.
Oh God. This is actually true.
Okay, I was gonna say, answer the question, James.
Never done that fucking Advil.
Not even like legal, you know, not drugs like weed. I've actually never done that either. So
we know for sure that James has taken pills.
Oh yeah.
Because we talked about it on stream.
Dude, I'm a meds guy, dude. I take medicine all the time to solve problems that I have. So
listen, man. You talk about not being able to sleep. Weed.
Yeah.
Weed is a pretty big catch-all. Like, actually, it's a big pain reliever. It can so like it's not even just weed that you're looking for, right? Like sometimes you just want like the CBD oil, and then like that you won't get high, but you'll like you'll either like focus up or you'll do this or that. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it.
There's a pillow on the market that has like CBD oil infused into it. That, you know, I was like, But I mean,
I wouldn't trust all that.
I have been, honestly though, like this close to actually trying some weed. That was thanks to Pat the Flip and Coquette. So, you know.
Dude, I mean, it's legal in your state. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah,
personally, I've actually been on a break. I haven't smoked for weeks now, but yeah, if I was you, and I couldn't fall asleep, I'd be like, look, I need to try something.
Yeah, Trust me, that's the worst part about it. I can't even tell you how much research and money I've spent into all sorts of stupid shit to try to help me fall asleep, dude. And like at this point in time, it might be the cheapest and easiest way to do it. I swear. Ugh.
Yeah, and since you're a rookie, it wouldn't take much. Like you could do an edible, like a week edible, and you'd probably feel all right enough to fall asleep.
Yeah. And I'm living in a state where it's totally legal. So.
Yeah, it's super easy to get.
Yeah. Not like you're getting drug tested anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I mean, even people who do smoke weed, on a pretty consistent basis have told me, though, the first time you do it, make sure you have, like, some friends with experience that are around you or something that can kind of help you out with it in case, So,
yeah, just in case.
Just in case.
I mean, you could just go the way of getting the the CBD stuff that doesn't get you high, and you can still get like similar effects.
Huh.
You could just like start with that.
Okay.
I can say for me personally, CBD hasn't done much for me.
Yeah.
At least that I noticed. But maybe I just don't notice it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I do know some people who have taken it before, and then they get like really paranoid and stuff, which is the opposite effect. So.
It's just like medicine. It's gonna just depend on the person.
Yeah,
There's
of course.
Oh yeah, weed. So that's part of the problem I have with smokers is they like to act like weed is for everyone. This is cure all for fuck that. No, weed is definitely not for everyone. Just like drinking isn't for everyone, or whatever drug you want to apply. But I would suggest at least trying it if you can't fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been bad. It's been bad, and the worst thing about it too is like before, a lot of the times, a lot of my problems was also due to sleep apnea, and I have a CPAP mask now, and that actually, helps me stay asleep and everything. But recently, even with the CPAP, like I said, I can't wake up anymore. I mean, I woke up at like 2 this afternoon, and then I was like, oh god, I feel horrible, and then I fell back asleep for God knows how long, dude. So, I mean, it's 9 p.m. over here, and I don't even want to tell you how long I've been actually awake because it's actually kind of embarrassing. So
I can't even give you shit today because I napped a good majority of the day. I'm just getting over being sick, but
yeah,
that's probably why. But yeah, last night I slept like shit. I mean, honestly, dude, just with the state of the fucking world, I just don't sleep well.
Dude,
I never have slept well, but like now it's even, things are compounded. It's worse.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Isaiah's like, I've been like that since like age 2.
I feel you on that one, buddy.
Oh man. Oh gosh. I don't even know if let's talk about EA stuff here. Let's see.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are some cool things in the world being shown off recently.
I mean, last week we were all joking about Skate 4 and how I was talking about how I was going to create skate tennis on my as a video game, and then wham, all of a sudden here we are, Skate 4.
You know what that means, right? EA watched the podcast.
100%.
You know what? They were like, it was on this podcast. There's clearly enough people wanting Skate 4. So.
Yeah,
they had an entire 80 live viewers, guys. How could we not make this game?
There you go. Skate 4, EA, I know you're watching right now. Just on behalf of us, we want to say thank you.
You know what's funny though?
And on behalf of Generation Spacing, I want to say you're welcome, EA.
Yeah, right? You're welcome for the millions they're about to make. What's funny though is like when they announced it, they were like, "You guys will this into existence." So they pretty much just admitted that the game was memed to life.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible.
That happens kind of often though. Like there would never have been like another Battlefront game. I feel like. Had there not had people not have been like, y'all remember playing Star Wars Battlefront every 2 seconds.
The whole dangerous thing though is that there's a precedent for people memeing these kind of things, and then when it comes out, no one buys it.
That's the
but
part.
Skate is for sure gonna sell.
Yeah,
unless the game sucks. Like if they spend 4 years creating this game and it comes out and it's trash, that's on them.
Look.
But it'll almost for sure sell really well.
All they have to do is make a graphically improved Skate 1 or Skate 2, you know, with the Jedi skateboard returning. And I think that's all they need to do, you know. I mean, I even feel like when they made it so you could start moving things around and trying to set up your own stuff was a little bit too much. You know, I think I just liked it better when you just tried to use the environment that was there and just went with it. And
I feel like they definitely have to bring back the website where you can upload your skate videos and shit. Though.
God,
so,
yeah.
So it's weird though, because like they don't need to anymore, because like consoles this generation have just the ability to upload shit to social media.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, yeah, but it's not the same as like, because like the skate website used to have like their own social media voting essentially, right? Like you put your video and then you'd be able to upvote shit and people like, oh, these are really cool, and then the trash would get downvoted, and
I would
just having like the central area for all that skate stuff is really cool.
Yeah, and I would spend hours just watching videos. I mean, there was one that made me laugh so hard and I could never find it again that I spent hours trying to recreate it and I never could.
Was it called I Did It?
No, it was a different one.
Okay, because I Did It is definitely one of the funniest fucking skate videos ever. It's like 30 seconds. It's not even long. It's really quick, and it's so good. Fucking Dragoomba and I, for those of you who know who Dragoomba is, old Marvel player. Him and I used to be up on Skype calls, just fucking watching skate videos and dying at like 3 in the morning. Because we were just like. They're just flopping around, dude. Like...
I mean, the real question is, like, I know, like, in Skate 2, for example, you could play online with your friends and you could skate around and do all sorts of fun stuff like that. But at the point where they're at Skate 4, could they almost make it an MMO where they're just, everybody online is just skating everywhere? And
they tried to do with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, what was it, 5? I think it was 5 that they tried to do that with.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Well, that was definitely an attempt. But the problem with that is, like before the game even came out, people weren't wanting to buy it for a number of reasons. For one, and then when the game did come out, it was already pretty not good. So the always on like MMO like style of the thing didn't catch on because there was no player base.
Or it didn't work when it first started either. However, I do think that they'll do something like that, James, because Grand Theft Auto has pulled it off. Red Dead Redemption pulled it off.
Grand Theft Auto didn't just pull it off. Grand Theft Auto is currently the most profitable piece of media in existence.
Yeah.
So I think creating an open world system with a giant city that you can skate around with, like, 128 other people in the city at the same time, I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, and then just having people run into each other and like having like 20 people go down the giant ramp at the same time.
Yeah,
and all.
Exactly.
Dude, that would be so sick, dude.
Creating those type of moments, that's what next gen is going to be about. It's not amazing graphics. It's shit like that. It's having 120 people on a server with, user generated physics and all that bullshit all at once happening,
I'm still waiting for the time that I've always wanted to create the ultimate football game too and make it so that like every position had like mind games you could play, and then like the whole team would be made out of actual players, and have leagues that way. Basketball the same way,
I feel like it'd probably be easier with basketball considering there's less players.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to inform you guys, but NBA 2K already has that.
Oh, so you can play the 5v5?
Yeah, that's what the NBA 2K League is. It's 5 players playing against 5 players.
I thought it was I thought that was just one-on-one.
No. That's why they have an entire draft. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Like the Golden State Warriors draft this guy and this guy, and then they have like I think 7 or 8 players per team, and they have reserves.
Okay, cool.
NHL hockey started doing that in 2005 or 6 or something like that. So yeah, like that's existed for a long time.
Okay, cool.
It does not exist for football, I don't think. Maybe Madden tried to do it, but it didn't catch on because who the fuck wants to play offensive lineman?
Yeah, I know. You're just gonna be blocking people all day. It's like.
But yeah, NHL hockey pulls it off really well. NBA 2K pulls it off really well. It does exist.
Okay, cool.
So I mean, people play offensive linemen in real life. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I played O-line, but it's different. In real life, you get to beat the shit out of someone. In a video game, you'll just be holding forward.
Yeah, I was a tailback and a wide receiver, so.
I mean, everyone does that when they play all those new Sonic the Hedgehog games, right? They just hold forward and.
Yeah, but you go fast. You're not a 310-pound lineman going real slow. A little different.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, basically. The opposite of Sonic.
Yeah, no, basketball I think would probably be one of the best ones because then you could run the plays and, set screens for each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what 2K League is. It's sick.
Dude, I've always wanted to commentate that. I've always wanted to commentate that league. Is that league still even exist right now?
It does, A. And B, you should have talked to Sam because she used to work tickets at the events.
Yeah, I did. I did talk to her at one point, and she said she didn't really have any.
She probably could have got your foot in the door.
She said that she didn't really have much power. I talked to EE, who did commentary for it as well.
Okay.
And he said that they weren't hiring at the time and stuff. Because that's the thing is, like, basketball is a sport that I grew up with. And, there would be times where my brother would be, like, we would be watching a Laker game, and my brother would run to the bathroom real quick, and I would just commentate the game, like, while he was, so he could know what's still going on. And I would listen to the, inimitable Chick Hearn, who is the greatest commentator of anything of all time. So, it's absolutely true. I mean, it's so funny because when you actually think about all the basketball terms like slam dunk, fast break, tattoo dribble, all that stuff like that. That's all invented by Chick Hearn. Like every one of those terms was invented by him. So, it's similar to me how I've invented all of the fighting game terms.
Here we go again.
Man, I've legitimately been thinking about going back to Madden. I know you guys probably have no idea, but my esports career I started with Madden.
Oh, cool.
That's interesting.
And when Madden 2003 came out, the Madden Challenge came to Chicago, and I took the L to go to the Botanical Gardens at Navy Pier, which is where they held it. I got 2 grown men kicked out because they were so mad they lost to me, and I was 12 at the time, 13. Security had to pull 2 different guys out of the fucking venue because they were raging after they lost. And I think I ended up taking 4th at the event out of 256 people.
That's hilarious, dude.
I used to be real fucking good back in the day, and I kept playing until like 2010, 2011 or so before I was just like, man, I'm just kind of done. Like these games, there's too much you can't control. Like if my left tackle gets called for holding, I didn't fucking do that,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even
things like that.
Even fumbling is like a probability thing, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, I mean, you can fumble and it's not your fault and blah 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 and there's a lot and quarterback accuracy and things like that. Just shit that you can't control on your own sucks. That's why I play fighting games, because if I lose, I lost.
Yep. Yeah.
But I've been thinking about going back to Madden because I think I could do it. To be honest.
I mean, as a player or as a commentator?
Sure. What's that, James?
As a player or commentator?
As a player.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think I could go pretty far.
Cool.
But I would have to give up fighters. So I don't know.
What's that, Isaiah?
We'll see. He said it's worth a try.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We'll see.
I obviously I'm not saying like, oh yeah, give it the fuck up, bro, like or whatever. But if you believe that you would have to give up fighters just to do it, I don't really know what my answer is about that. Then
it would have to be full time.
Yeah. I mean,
like, the players who play the game are damn good.
Yeah. The one weird question
there's
is
good
like.
Money in it.
Yeah. The one weird question is, like, if I did commentary for, like, NBA 2K, do they want basketball commentary or do they want, like, video game commentary? Like, oh, you know what?
Yes.
What's that?
They want both. They want both.
Oh, they want both. Okay.
Yeah, they the idea of the whole 2K Sports League is esports meets real sports.
Okay. Because, I mean...
So they want both.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously you could be just like, oh, sets a screen, sets a pick and roll high, high at the top of the key, shows up the 18-footer, no good, rebounded by, like just very straightforward. Or I could just be like, oh, I think he was trying to go for this, with the.
Well, they do what fighting game commentators don't do, and they have very specified roles.
Oh yeah.
Of the play-by-play and the color guy.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of what makes fighting game commentary the best in esports, in my opinion, because we don't necessarily stick to this is what I do and this is what you do, and the hype is very genuine. But
There's a lot of flexibility.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
These more personality open for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny how when you hear a lot of those commentators for even Smash, because Smash kind of does that too, because they follow more traditional esports roles and
Didn't used to.
yeah, and Smash commentators, but even League commentators and stuff, and big time commentators as well will always talk about how they love the fact and are jealous that in the FGC you get to have people like Yipes just sitting there yelling about bus ass, and things like that, and they get to be themselves, and we don't have to talk in commentator voice,
Yeah.
So,
Ugh.
yeah.
Commentator voice is disgusting.
That's one thing that me and David said that we would never do is go into commentator voice, which is why, I actually spend a lot of time laughing on commentary because shit's just funny, dude.
Yeah, commentary voice is so unnatural.
Mm-hmm. I hate it. I hate the fact that when you listen to League or listen to any of those other esports, you can't tell the difference between anyone. And, it has kind of started happening in Smash, which is, why I love listening to Breezy and EE so much, because they're the most traditional FGC style commentators, I feel like,
Yeah. Prague, I think Prague could be listed there too, but he's not active anymore.
Yeah.
That's my man's.
Yeah, Prague
Yeah,
is
Prague
the
is a
man.
homie.
Prague is one of the most genuinely wonderful people that I know.
Man, I'm still upset that Combo Breaker didn't happen because I got Prague to agree to do Marvel commentary.
Oh,
Oh, that sounds godlike. Yeah.
Yeah, it was gonna be fun, but womp womp.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
I'm a sad boy.
Oh man.
For obvious reasons, I think we're all sad about the whole situation.
Man, at this point now, it's like I miss tournaments so much, but
Yeah.
I'm worried that we're not going to be able to do them next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think some events will not survive this at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen. Some events have already died because of it,
Right.
actually. But
Right.
But I mean, even something like Frosty Faustings, which is January next year, probably won't happen.
That's what I
won't
like. Yeah.
I haven't missed Frosty since I've gone the first time that I went.
Yeah.
I went every year after. The one year was enough for me. Like, I was just like, all right, yep, I'm coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Frosties might not happen. I think, I could be wrong, but I think Jabali signed on with the Wyndham to run CEO in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was September or December.
It was December for sure, because he wanted to do it as late as possible. But also, I kind of hope he didn't sign the contract yet, because,
Well,
fuck, man, there's no, because, fucking Florida's not going to re-shut down, because their governor's nuts.
oh.
yeah, it's
And
pretty bad.
B, there's not going to probably be a fucking vaccine by then, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go. Originally I was like, yeah, December, we're going to be fine by then. Second wave will have come and gone, we'll be okay, but that's not the case. Our country is full of fucking just uneducated people who want to go outside without masks on, et cetera, and things are getting worse.
See, I wasn't even thinking, because you would know that Jabela would probably put a force majeure clause in there that, if it continued and they had to cancel because of that, then he's not on the hook. But you're right, Florida might not even shut it down, and so then he would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Florida's not going to allow the force majeure because they're going to be open and ready to go, and fucking Florida and Arizona right now are neck and neck for number one COVID area in the world.
Yeah, I think it's also pretty clear that most of the FGC probably would not attend a Florida event, given the state of Florida right now.
Correct.
That's
why I'm worried for Alex.
Yeah, that's definitely troublesome.
God. And then, what do they say? Arizona right now has a higher per capita infection rate than, countries. Than other countries.
And what Jeremy just said in the chat, too, Beijing is blowing up again now.
Oh, God. Beijing now, too? Oh.
Yeah, China's about to get real bad again.
You know what?
They said their entire meat and seafood supply is infected with COVID.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I was reading earlier.
Entire?
Yeah. They're one of their biggest markets or something like that.
Dude, that's rough for China, man, because China's all about meat, dude. There's no such thing as vegetarians in Asia. Let's just put it that way. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But dude,
yeah, dude, things are getting worse. They're not getting better. And realistically, we haven't even hit a second wave.
Yeah.
This is still wave one. Wave 1 didn't go away. It plateaued.
And the protests are just going to, I mean, like maybe 1 week, 2 weeks from now, we are going to get a huge spike. And, to California's credit, they just passed a law today that if you're outside, you have to wear a mask. Like they just enforced it into law now. It's not even
the only states in existence.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, shout outs to California for now, but I mean, or Los Angeles maybe. It might not even be California. It might just be Los Angeles.
I would say it's probably just your city.
Yeah, it's probably just Los Angeles. So, but yeah, it's.
I'd have to read on it again, but I do remember seeing that earlier this morning.
It's terrifying, dude.
It was either this morning or yesterday. It was one of the two. I forget.
I'm lucky in that Minnesota is like top 3 states in flattening the curve, but that's not even gonna matter when Florida and all that shit starts moving north. Like it's not.
And not only
the hot
that,
spots are gonna cause everywhere else to go to shit.
And then of course you are one of the hotbeds of the protests and the rebellions. So
I mean, they haven't stopped.
Right, exactly. And so
we're still going hard. The media's not showing it anymore because they're peaceful, but we're still going hard.
Yeah, and that's just going to cause another spike. And you know what I don't know if I want to get into it.
There were spikes being caused before the protest started.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was growing before
Memorial Day.
It
was a big catalyst.
The current spikes that we're seeing right now are from all the premature reopening. That is
that's what I'm saying. The protests didn't even matter technically because it was spiking regardless.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, it feels like, I know I've talked about this on this podcast before, but I had a friend, who was talking about how, she feels like we're probably living in a simulation or whatever like that. But, if that's the case, someone out there is trying to kill our country right now. Like literally they're finding all the proper ways to like just take out this entire country.
Bro,
you telling me you never played like SimCity or like?
Oh, of course I have.
Disaster hits.
Throwing Bowser out to destroy my city on Super Nintendo. Actually,
exactly.
I always turned off all the natural disasters because they would piss me off so much, dude. I would get so mad.
But you could perform them at will, is what I'm saying.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could.
Have you guys ever seen V for Vendetta?
I have, yeah.
So in V for Vendetta, which takes place in the year 2020, by the way.
Does it?
It does, yeah. I googled it just to be sure.
Oh boy.
In the movie V for Vendetta, the UK is ruled by a comically, hilariously wild, evil ruler that promises protection but not peace, basically, or not privacy, safety but not privacy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And half of America is dying from a disease.
Are you serious?
It just mimics real life so perfectly that it's kind of scary.
Oh, dang. Oh, it is for all of California. Okay, so all of California.
all of California.
Dang,
Oh,
okay.
That's cool.
That's good.
But that's
good.
freaky, dude.
So
I mean,
neat.
V for Vendetta. And, the fact that Anonymous is, they took their masks and everything like that. And
Yeah,
so
dude,
now-
that's what I'm saying. Like, shit is art imitating life. Or maybe
Yeah.
it's life imitating art at this point. Who knows?
It's both, man. It's a full
Shit is
circle.
wild.
Definitely both because Guy Fawkes existed like in the 1700s?
Something
like that, yeah.
So,
Ugh, God.
which by the way, Guy Fawkes was definitely not doing the same shit that the V for Vendetta people.
No,
were doing.
No.
So like, but there's like this really common misconception that it was like a similar way, but it was like in 1700s technology.
Right.
And it was like, no, you guys don't understand.
No.
Like, and he also definitely didn't succeed.
No, yeah, and he's painted as a traitor, so.
Yeah.
History is always written by the winners, man. That's the way that
Yes.
always
Right.
works.
Yes, it is.
Yep. That's the way it is.
That's why it's important we win in November.
Yeah. That's why it's important we win this year just in general, man. Oh, God.
Well, we've taken L after L so
Yeah,
far.
and I think there's another L coming pretty soon, but, jeez.
It depends
Yeah.
which L we're talking about, because I feel like there's a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, literally, yeah, you fucking pick one.
Yeah, seriously. Ugh.
But you know who didn't take an L?
EA.
EA did not take an L today.
the game.
EA fucking went off today. I feel like if E3 would have happened and EA put this presentation out, they would have won so far, because I haven't seen any fantastic announcement. Like, the PS5 announcement was okay. The Xbox announcement was fucking trash.
Did they have more than just like a "this isn't the Xbox" announcement?
No,
Like,
so
did they have
what,
like a direct or
what
whatever you call it?
What Microsoft said is, here's our initial launch, and we're not going to show that many exclusives. We just want you guys to see what the console is all about, blah, blah, blah. Later, in about a month, we're going to show off Halo and all these other games. They still haven't done it. It's been like 6 weeks.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so they're just, it seems like blowing smoke up people's ass at this point, because Halo is supposed to come out 2020. The game was announced 3 years ago. They've shown zero gameplay. They've shown two CGI trailers. Yeah,
Wow,
they've only shown 2 CGI trailers, no gameplay, and the game's supposed to come out by December this year.
So the one new thing that they have spoken about Halo recently was one of the dumbest things I had ever seen.
Okay.
They're using original Xbox consoles to create an electromagnetic sound that is used in the actual game.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
That's the only thing we know about the game so far.
Why? Why would they do? Why? That seems like such a waste of resources and time.
Like, okay, whatever, do it, right? Like, just do it, right? The thing that we, though, as, like, someone who would like to purchase Halo, we care about not the sound direction of electromagnetic fields and how it was created, but the actual gameplay of the Halo video game that is currently being kind of on the decline for a lot of Halo fans.
Because, I mean...
So it's like...
It's funny, having grown up, you know, in the era of Super NES, Genesis, and all those things, you know, because, you know, back then games, you know, they were sprites, they were, you know, people didn't think they looked very good, and so advertisements in magazines, commercials on TV very rarely showed the actual gameplay. You know, the commercials almost always had nothing to do with gameplay. And nowadays, nowadays games are so beautiful and they're so amazing that the commercials can be entirely gameplay, and we're not showing gameplay. What the hell?
I remember those commercials because it would always be like the kid in front of his TV, and the visuals for the shots of the camera would be like zoom in, zoom out really fast.
Yeah.
Or they would have that close of the eyeball with the game reflecting off their eyeball.
Yeah.
It's like they're loving this game, but we don't see any of the game.
Dude, the Sega Genesis marketing campaign in the U.S. changed the face of...
godlike.
They changed the face of gaming advertisement. I mean, to the point where every advertisement in every magazine was all about, like, either being really grotesque or, like, in your face. I mean, they really created the Sega, you know, the in your face stuff in that time, dude. Jeez.
You remember, it was Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Yeah.
That was the slogan.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys have Sega TV?
No, I never got that.
I had Sega TV. So I was real poor growing up, right? And rather than my parents like wanting to spend money on entertainment, they spent the $20 or whatever it was a month to make sure that I had video games to play. And that's what it wasn't Sega TV, it was called Sega Channel.
Okay.
Sega Channel was like their budget for me to like have shit to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't need to take you to Blockbuster because there's literally like 300 games for you to play right here.
Right, okay.
So Sega Channel, honestly, was super fucking dope. You just plugged it into your console, and it had like a cable that would, like, for television, and you got instant games. And it was pretty much every game on Sega that was popular. Like, it had Comic Zone and Mutant League Football and all the Sonic games and blah blah blah. It was dope as fuck.
Nice. Now I wonder what the input.
Did that too.
I wonder what the input.
I didn't even know Nintendo had one.
It was called the Satellaview.
They had one?
I could be saying that wrong, but it was something like the Satellaview, because there was a Satellaview only Zelda game which would have live orchestrated music, but the way they did it was different than the Sega one, because what would happen is they broadcasted the games. So you could only play them during certain times.
Oh.
And certain things that would happen would be based around what time it was. So like there would be literal events that would only happen in the game at like 6 p.m. or whatever, even if it was like a Zelda game, right?
Okay.
Like, yeah. I believe it was called the Satellaview. I'm forgetting I could be forgetting how to pronounce it or something like that, you know, but it was only in Japan. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's why I never heard of it.
Yeah, back then we had no idea what was going on in Japan back then.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but no, when you mentioned the Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Like, there was one Nintendo Power where, you know, finally when Sega stopped having consoles, that Sonic the Hedgehog was on the title, on the title cover of Nintendo Power, and someone said, well, if Genesis does what Nintendo don't, like, this is like some sort of like paradox all of a sudden, you know? The world was gonna end because now Nintendo is doing what Genesis did. What is happening? Oh, man.
What's happening?
But yeah, I mean, at this point, what EA is looking really Squadrons. I mean, we haven't even really talked about that.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten around to Squadrons yet.
Squadrons, I'm all in. I think I'm all in for that game.
Yeah, I mean,
originally when EA was bringing back the Star Wars stuff, one of the games was obviously Battlefront and Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And that didn't go so hot at the very beginning.
No.
Right. It has, from what I've seen and heard, it has fostered into its own like really super cool thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
But when it first started, it was abysmal, right?
It was
a lot of people are probably have their reserves about Rogue Squadron starting.
Yeah.
Because I know I do, and I know that they've talked about a bunch of the stuff like that they that they're doing differently, right?
Yeah, I mean, just to make sure people to clarify, you know, the reason why people were mad was because of all the nickel and diming and all the DLC and
I mean, I didn't play Battlefront 2 because of the DLC with Battlefront 1, but basically like the game got turned into 8 different games that. If you didn't have DLC, you couldn't do this mission. You have DLC, you couldn't do this mission. So the player base got split into a bunch of different parts, and the game died.
Yeah.
And from what I understood, that's kind of what started happening with Battlefront 2 for a while, too.
Until everyone got mad.
Battlefront 2 is they enabled loot boxes, which were egregiously bad.
Yeah.
And the grind for getting anything without paying money was basically impossible. Right, like so it was pay money or you're not playing Darth Vader, right?
Right,
sure.
Yeah,
like kind of shit. Also, at the very beginning, there was a lot of really questionable like gameplay decisions and stuff like that they eventually addressed and fixed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I played it. My friend has it because he's the biggest Star Wars fan that I know. And you know, there was I couldn't do the ground battles because I just sucked at them really bad. But the space battles were really, really fun. Like it was the battle royale kind of thing where you just jumped in your one of 50 ships, and if you died, you just jumped into the next one. You know, and it was actually kind of cool that way, and it was a lot of fun. But you know, I think I played it after they had gotten rid of all the stupidity, you know, and all the problems with it already. And so...
Yeah. So the reason why I bring up the Battlefront issues, though, is because, like, we only know so much about Rogue Squadron. Like, we've obviously...
Whoa. It's Squadrons, okay? Not Rogue Squadron. Different game.
Sorry. I mean, he's right. Right.
Got smacked down.
Yeah. We only know so much about the game right now, and we don't know if like on launch if something weird could happen with it. Like I'm not saying that they would do the things that they did before because they've in a press release already said they're not going to. But you know we don't know what that could mean that they are going to do. I guess.
I mean, what was crazy?
So what they've said so far is the game is $39.99 on launch,
which is crazy.
Which that's a positive.
Yeah.
They said that everything in game, both for your ship's loadout, so abilities that your ship can have, and aesthetics, are unlockable through gameplay. They made it sound like it's not going to be pay to win, but yeah, this is EA, right. So I understand any reserve people have. My feeling, though, we were talking about this earlier before we started the stream. My feeling is if the game is $39.99 and it costs an extra $19.99 to like quick unlock all the ship loadout stuff, I'll pay that shit like no question.
Dude, not even a contest, dude.
Like that, like I'm just paying for the full price game at that point, and I'm fine with that.
I would
So
100% do that.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
My only reserve about that particular thing is that it needs to be worth the extra $20, the amount of content.
Oh yeah.
To be like, because if they're charging me for a $40 game, right? I'm assuming I'm getting $40 worth of content, or more maybe, right? Like I want to get at least that much. And so if it's gated behind the extra $20, that extra $20 definitely needs to be worth it.
Well, right.
So
I mean,
I don't know if I would be like, oh yeah, I'm for sure doing this if it's extra $20.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is this: if the stuff that you can like is gated isn't worth it, then I'm just gonna unlock it in game. You know,
yeah.
That's the way.
I mean, that's how I feel too. Then I'll just play through it. But also, the fact that it's $40 makes me feel like they're confident that the game is good. Like it comes out in October. It comes out real quick. So they've kept it a secret this whole time. They've obviously had internal discussions on what to price the game and all that shit. So I feel like if the game is $40, they feel like, all right, we're gonna give them this base game for $40, and they're gonna be hooked. And the gameplay they showed today looked really, really fucking cool.
Dude, we were just talking about the whole basketball thing and everything earlier. The 5v5 aspect of it, and if they can develop this so that there's enough skill in the game to like avoid shots or just have like really kind of interesting mechanics to make it very skill based, like Mario Kart 64 battle mode as opposed to Double Dash battle mode, you know, kind of things. They could potentially turn this into an esport. I mean, is that what they're eyeing?
It might be on the radar, in theory, given the just like the current climate, right? Climate of how certain games are making money. Tossing esports into it has been okay. Not amazing, obviously, but also because of the way things are structured with the you have your own squadron. Like, I feel like it's totally possible.
Yeah, and I mean the game modes that they showed off today are very esports-esque. Like it's not just a battle, like a deathmatch game. There's objective-based gameplay, where you defend and you attack, kind of like a CS:GO or Valorant, etc. So with that usually means that they have bigger plans.
See, I'm totally down for that. I mean, having a Star Wars esport would be amazing, except, of course, now you've got to deal with Disney.
That's the big hard part is I don't even know if it's possible with Disney.
Right. Because Disney, obviously, is the problem. we all have the Marvel...
The Dragon Ball Fighters got through to Shueisha, through Toei.
Yeah.
It almost didn't.
I don't have enough fingers, right? Like, through the Dragon Ball. Getting through Disney would be... I can't even fathom it,
honestly. We're dealing with on the Marvel side, right? That's the way it always... the Marvel side.
Yeah. They basically... They're just like, yeah, what's a Marvel vs. Capcom? We don't even want that, right? Like... So... I don't know, man. I didn't even think about Disney until it was brought up. So
thank you to Dylan Chatterton for the subscription. Suck my nuts, asshole. Suck my nuts, Dylan Chatterton. There you go. And because this is Generation Spacing, I can actually use the non-G version of it. So there you go.
We gotta cater to the kids, James.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sigma nuts, cat butts to Dylan.
Yeah,
there you go.
All of our 11-year-old viewers.
That's right.
Yep. God.
But yeah, I'm all in for Squadrons. It looks really, really fun. I'm excited to see more. I'm pumped that it comes out in 4 months. I hate when games
said 4 months?
and they don't come out for like 3. Yeah, it comes out in October. October 2nd is release.
Oh, okay.
Also, wow, October is in like 4 months. That's crazy.
You're right.
Yeah, because this year has felt like 10 years.
Dude, it feels like we've been stuck in April, right? I mean, it still feels like we're in spring.
Not for me, dude. It's hot as shit in here.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah. But it's just that
I actually have my AC blasting right now.
I didn't even want to
for sure, temperature-wise, but it's just like, for me, my calendar year is defined by FGC events now. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like it's
I can
summer.
feel that.
It's summer because of Combo Breaker. It's summer or like late spring because of Combo Breaker. It's summertime, CEO, Evo, and like all my seasons are defined by the yearly events, and they're just not all happening, and it's crazy, dude. Oh. Dude.
Yeah, it's definitely throwing a lot of people time out of whack. Cause like, I remember several years ago, I was like, I knew it was Friday because my local was on Friday. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah, today's Friday.
Yep.
Like, or you know, I knew it was fucking Memorial Day weekend because Combo Breaker.
Yeah.
And all this shit.
Hell, I mean, I only know what day of the week it is right now because of the Tuesday show and Generation Spacing. Like, honestly, without that, I swear I would still be lost of what day of the week it is. So
I just constantly check, I guess. So I just got lucky.
I'm about to be like you pretty soon, James, where I lose track of days because I actually quit my job.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah. So I was really sick, and I called off Thursday, Friday, and Monday.
Right.
And then Tuesday, I was still sick, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna power through, and I was already planning on quitting. So like, I'm just gonna power through this week. So I worked on Tuesday, and by the end of the day, I felt as bad as I did Monday. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna quit now. And I called my boss, and I was like, yeah, I quit. So I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. I have no plans. I have like $500 in the bank.
Oh no.
I have one more paycheck coming, so I'll be able to pay my rent and everything. And I have already been talking to a recruiter. I should have interviews coming up, but like, I took a real big risk because of how unhappy I was.
Yeah. No, I mean, look.
It sucks that you even have to make that decision because, like, it's like, oh yeah, my mental health or being able to pay my fucking bills. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's been pretty much the entire time I've worked there. But now I mean, obviously a lot of you out there probably have no idea. But I worked for a company that partners with Home Depot for home installs. And in particular, I worked for countertops. And a huge portion of my job was scheduling installers to go into people's homes and measure and install countertops.
yeah.
In my mind, 85-year-old Nancy doesn't need granite countertops right now because she can literally die from it,
Right.
And like these install techs, these measure techs, they're going into 10 plus homes a day, every single day, 5 days a week. So like they're for sure it's going to help spread COVID, especially in Florida right now. And it was just weighing so heavily on my conscience, I couldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like granted, they're adults and they can make their own decisions, but I'm also an adult and I can make the decision that I don't want to contribute directly to COVID spread.
Right, and actually the people installing the countertops, it kind of isn't their decision, right? They're kind of forced into it as well.
They're being forced as well, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, when you are at a job and you are unhappy with it, it ruins your life. It absolutely does. I mean,
yes.
People do not understand how miserable you become when you're at a job that you are just not happy with. And, that's why, like, when I got laid off of my last job, I had to restrain myself from jumping up and cheering in front of my manager, who let me know, like... It was just it was kind of crazy at that point, but even David said after I had stopped working there that he was like, "You seem so much happier these days,"
Yeah, dude, I've just felt relief after I quit.
I mean,
even though I have no clue what's gonna happen to me now.
I mean, I'm fortunate because I'm still getting occasional gigs here. I have someone renting from my place, so I still have like little, and I can still make a decent, like a few hundred from Twitch, every month kind of thing like that. So that actually helps a little bit. Although not this month because I didn't stream crap this month, but we'll see what happens. But I mean, I can survive, and like I said before we started the stream, I'm getting some checks for gigs that I did last year. like now, kind of thing. So weirdly enough, the delay on the esports payments is actually kind of feeling nice at this point. But
It's that maybe the one time you wanted it to be this way.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only time.
Every other time it's like, well, I can't eat.
Delay-based paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, no, that is what commentary life is on.
That is what esports is.
Paycheck.
Esports is
Dude.
absolutely that. So
There's nothing worse than having your contract be net 60 and they still don't pay you on time. Like, motherfucker, you had 2 months. 2 months. Think about that shit.
to pay me $60, you know.
Yeah, right? You know, like, to pay me fucking peanuts.
Oh man.
I guess I should clarify though that it's not always every single person that employ us that takes forever to pay us.
No.
Yeah.
Not always.
It depends on the person, depends on the company, depends on all the stuff.
There's a lot of
so.
extenuating factors.
And generally, when I'm getting paid directly from TOs, I get paid right away.
Yeah.
Like Bailey and Rick and all them, they pay immediately. So
Yeah.
TOs do fine. It's the fucking bigger companies that
Well, that's because they're stuck,
draw
right?
back.
Because like a lot of the companies that hire us, that contract us, are being hired by the bigger companies, and they can't pay us until they get paid. I mean, they could pay us first. That is definitely an option, and have them go in the hole until they get paid. But like the whole situation just kind of sucks because everybody is slow as shit on everything, and it's weird that this whole. Like, this is not even just esports. This is just how contracting and, like, any sort of, industry like this operates. Like, somehow, for some reason, being months late on a payment has been deemed okay. Like, that it should have not been like that in the first place,
So, I remember a tweet a long time ago from, it was either a Dota or a StarCraft caster, I can't remember which, I'm forgetting, but one of the larger esports than in comparison to fighting games, who had specifically said if you're not paying them and then reimbursing yourself, it's probably an issue, like, or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know. It's really hard to.
It's a shitty situation, and it's so frustrating. And to me, it's like kind of on par with the whole stupid thing, like, oh, you're a waitress, you get tips, so we can pay you $2 an hour, kind of thing. Like, how does all this shit become acceptable? You know what I mean? Like,
pay them a livable wage, and they won't need tips, and there won't be any tips that other people need to put down on the table, and then there's more money that goes into the restaurant. Just all this bullshit.
It's called a tip. Like, by nature of the word, it means it's extra, like, it's adding to the tip of anyways, like, if I could ever become like some sort of governor of California or whatever, I would fucking abolish tips and just make it like Japan is, you know what I mean? And just have it be.
Dude, it's not even just Japan. The UK, everywhere.
Yeah.
All of Europe.
You can't abolish tips until you give them a livable wage because they need the tips.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
I would force the minimum wage on there. I wouldn't make it so that tipping is illegal, but I would make it so that tipping is not necessary. I would try to create that culture that not tipping is fine, kind of thing. So
yeah. It would take a while to do that for sure.
Oh yeah,
it's so ingrained in us right now.
But I mean, that's what makes it tough because, I mean, like, the weird part about it is, too, is like, when you try to do the tip thing, too, like, now you become to the point where you're, like, expecting people to always come by and check on you. Whereas, you could just be like, hey, call someone over and just have it be easier. But now if they don't come by, you're mad or whatever like this. And then sometimes they're the ones that are too eager to help you. Hi. And you're like, please leave me alone. I just want to eat, kind of thing. And so, like, in Japan, you just go there, you pick what you want to eat from a machine, you get a ticket, you hand it to the lady, she gets it, your food comes out, and then you're like, I'm done, and then you walk away. And it's like...
Well, you walk away and you go pay if you haven't paid before.
Right, beforehand. But most of the time, most of the time you actually pay at the machine. They just have this machine that you go there and you pick what you want and a piece of paper comes out, and then you sit down at the table and hand it to them, and then they just bring you your food, and that's it. It's so convenient. It's so nice. I don't have to worry about tip. I've already paid for it. I mean, people said, like, living in Japan is expensive, but that's only, like, because you obviously have to travel a lot and owning, like living in places costs a lot. But if you're okay with having a small place, like eating out every day just barely costs anything, dude. It's so crazy.
Yeah, but you always want to eat out every day when you're there.
Because not only that, but the food is so good. Like, you go to 7-Eleven and buy like a fucking $3 pasta dish, and it's like fucking amazing, dude. It's so good. Oh.
Yeah, I always get last at Evo Japan, I made sure to get a Combini egg salad sandwich every night, every single night,
and it's like $2, and it's super good, dude. It's crazy, man.
One day I'll go.
Worth it. I hope you do get to go, dude. It's
one day.
One day, I have no doubts. I have no doubts, Brandon. That is,
Dude,
I do. Have you seen Planet Earth?
okay. All right, fair.
I have some doubts.
Fair.
As of right now, it's like a pretty bad.
Fair. Okay. That needs to be put on a fucking poster, man. Have you seen Planet Earth? That is the motto of 2020 right there, dude.
It's not looking too hot right now.
That is summing up 2020 in a nutshell right there. Have you seen Planet Earth?
Oh man,
God.
I've definitely seen Planet Earth, and it is giving
I mean,
me the heebie-jeebies.
The fold on the Met on my shirt right now says it all right now. He looks so sad. Because he's supposed to look like this, but he looks like this. That's hilarious, actually. I'm having way too much fun with this. Oh, God. Yeah. It's not a good time, dude. It's not a good time.
Nah.
But, I mean, and that's the thing.
Going for us is Star Wars Rogue Squadrons and Skateful.
Hey!
Miles Morales.
Squadrons, not Rogue Squadrons.
I said Squadrons.
No, you said Rogue Squadrons.
There's no Rogue.
I keep saying it. It's really hard to get out of my
I mean,
yeah, I know.
That was an old franchise, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, it was...
Yeah, and then honestly, one of the things is that, you know, you can't even sit here and say, wow, I can't wait till things, even if it takes over a year from now, I can't wait till things are back to normal. There is no more normal. This is the new normal, right? I mean, a lot of this
we definitely do not want to go back to the old normal.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Actually, that's a good question, Runato, about The Last of Us 2. For those of you who have been following it, I haven't really been following it. All I know is there was drama. What's that?
I haven't read the spoilers at all.
I've read the spoilers because I don't have interest in the game really, but I've also heard.
Don't spoil us.
I've also heard this. Well, the thing is, I've also heard that the spoilers were not accurate. The leaked spoilers were not accurate.
Oh, really?
And I'm wondering what the actual turns out it is or whatever, but I'm not sure. So
Renato says it's a giant shit show. Apparently,
okay,
I don't know.
So
I really want to play the game, but I definitely am not spending $60 on a video game right now.
Well, the other problem too is that the trailer that they keep posting out has a song that is 100% plagiarized from somebody, and that's like a big deal right now.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, so the song that Elle sings, or Ellie, whatever her name is, where she's playing the guitar, is a cover of a song made by another group. I forget. It's a very popular song, and it's a cover of a song, and it's a guitar-based, like acoustic version of it. Now, normally, everyone's like, oh, it's coincidence, it's just chords, it's just, style, but the way that she sings it is in a key change, and the key change is exactly the same as a cover that was written like 7 years ago and performed by somebody, and the chords are exactly the same, the guitar sounds the same, and it's like, okay, maybe there's just a coincidence. But the problem is, at the very end of the song, she sings a melody that is not in the original, that she made up herself, and it's replicated exactly in the Last of Us 2 trailer. Like, that part of the song is replicated exactly in the last...
That sounds pretty damning to me.
Yeah, it was like not good. So they're going through shit right now. Naughty Dog is not having a good time with this game.
I only remember hearing the song, I think it was the same song, when they first showed off The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it was
that was the only time I remember this.
Something's got a hold on me, or something like that, And then towards the end, there's this part where they just kind of sing this melody, and that melody only exists in the cover of that this lady did like 7 years ago. It's not in the
That was
original.
not to me.
She made it up herself, and yeah, so it's not good.
Rough.
Yeah, Naughty Dog, rough.
I mean,
From Crash Bandicoot to this.
they make fantastic games, but they're very well known for expecting too much from their devs.
Naughty
Overworking
Cat.
them.
No, see, we gotta make Well-Behaved Cat. That's the game.
Well-Behaved Cat.
Well-Behaved Cat is the company we're making.
That's what the cat game is being developed by.
Stray, right?
Yeah. Meower's Edge.
Wait, what's the name of their company?
It's what is it? Polite Cat? Is that what
I said that's right. I forgot about Meower's Edge.
Meower's Edge. Wow.
Percore. The Percore for Meower's Edge.
We don't even know what the gameplay is like at all. Just like,
all you're gonna see are like paws on the front of the screen doing this, and then jumping, and then and like grabbing on ledges and stuff. Yeah.
And then we're gonna hear James Chen's voice because he's gonna be the esports champion
of the world. Yeah, exactly.
Of Meower's Edge. Oh man, dude, I need to make the Percore Cat game now, dude. And it's gonna be, the company is definitely gonna be Well-Behaved Cat, and it's gonna be called Meower's Edge Percore.
Well, you can't make Skate now, so.
Yeah,
that's right.
Can't make Skate anymore. It's being made.
Well, now I need to make Swing, my tennis game too. So there you go. Although Swing would be a really bad name for it now that I think about it. So
just emulate.
Yeah.
just emulate Virtua Tennis, bro. Just.
Dude, I'm telling you, I would. Remember how Rockstar made that one ping pong game that was like super accurate to real?
Tennis.
What's that?
It was called table tennis.
Oh, okay. And I never played it. I'm not good at table tennis, even though I'm Chinese. See, I'm allowed to make those racist jokes. But like if I made this tennis game, even though I'm not a big tennis player, I swear I would try to make one that's like way more accurate to like what tennis players have to do and stuff. So, telling you, I have not played Cat Lateral Damage. I do know about that, but this is different.
This is different. There's no cat lateral damage. This is per core.
Right, exactly. Per core. Like I said, you have to see the cat paws doing this, and when you make the jump, the cat paws do this, and
You guys just don't get it. Okay? You don't understand the genius of Meower's Edge.
It would make no sense because no cat runs with their hands in the air, but I would totally do it anyway.
Just like this.
Oh my god. Meower's Edge is what it's all about right now. I am patenting this idea.
I have not played Helltaker yet, but I've seen gameplay of it. It looks cool.
I don't know what that is.
I installed it, but I still haven't played it.
What is it?
I don't know if... Okay, so it's a puzzle game, right? I just don't know if you would like this game at all, James. It's a puzzle game where you court demons.
Okay.
That is the easiest way I can put it.
Oh, is it like one of those dating sims, but it's demons?
It's a puzzle game.
But it's a puzzle
And
game.
it's demons.
Huh. I'll check it out.
Horny demons.
There are explicitly horny demons in it.
Oh,
James
okay, gotcha.
James Chen into horny demons confirmed.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Confirmed.
It's more about the horniness of it. So demons always have horns, right? It's just like the devil horns.
It's true.
Exactly.
They're horny demons, right? That's what you're talking about, right? The horny
I definitely
demons.
should have thought about that. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Puzzle rhythm demon dating sim. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I tried to put it as well as I could.
Okay.
Without like, I mean, you've probably seen some fan art of the characters on Twitter. At least I have.
I mean, you know what?
I'm in the anime scene, so I see a shit ton.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I can't say I have.
My timeline is curated well enough, and even if I did see him, I probably wouldn't even recognize where it's from. I would just be like,
well, yeah, I mean,
"Oh, it's probably just a horny demon,"
Not all of the demons are horny. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay. Fair.
Well, you almost had me, but now you tell me that there's not some horny demons. I don't want it.
I'm sorry.
I was ready for horny demons game.
Full ass ruined the game for you.
Yeah, I mean, do people all do this to you as well, Isaiah? But every time I see that emote, the bless RNG emote, it always makes me think of you.
You think it's me?
Yeah, it makes me think of you. It's like the dance game being co-opted by Flow, you know?
Yeah. Nobody ever says it's me. I don't think I've ever actually had anybody say it's like, oh, that looks like you. But the closest thing was that like my nickname in middle school was Jesus, I guess. 'Cause, like, I looked the part. So
That's fair. That's fair.
back then.
It's like Chris Jesus Ferguson of the poker world. Is that your emote, Tubo?
Yeah.
That's hilarious, dude. That's awesome.
Hold on. These are
You
my
got
emotes.
spamming emotes in the chat now.
I only have 4.
Nice.
I could have the full like set that an affiliate could have, but I have not submitted any extras other than the 3. So it's like
Hi, kitty. Jasmine is just sitting here and just like, oh, hi. Hi.
So this is gonna be weird, but I didn't watch the Tuesday show, but I heard you guys had a really good show.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I also missed it.
Yeah,
What did you guys talk about? I want to understand. I literally only heard that the Tuesday show was really good, and I have no idea what was good about it. What did you guys talk about?
We talked a lot about Black Lives Matter, you know, and David, you know, going to his protests and all these things like that. And then we talked about the bands as well, you know, the F-Champ and, you know, Mike Z situations and stuff. And, you know, obviously, without question, I mean, on YouTube right now, it's gotten the most pushback and the most dislikes, and everybody's like angry at it and everything, and people talking shit about us all over the comments and everything like that. And that obviously didn't help me fall asleep last night at all. But
Of course, because why would you ever, you know, try to talk about having equality? That's just,
right.
you know,
But I mean,
How
you know.
dare you.
how fucking dare you?
We were, I mean, mostly, like, I went off on people because, like, I was talking about how, like, you know, people are saying that the FGC is getting soft because we're, like, you know, policing all this language and all shit like that. And I just basically said to everybody out there, there's like, actually, you're the soft ones if you don't want this shit policed, because you're just mad because you can't be an asshole anymore without consequences.
They're having the reaction that they're saying other people are having when someone tells them that they're not allowed to be racist or homophobic or whatever. It's like, it's the weirdest, like...
Dude, can you believe this? Like, one of the comments on the YouTube was calling people, like, oh no, I was on Twitter, calling people me and David, they were calling us fascists. Like, leftist fascists. Like, does that, like, they're taking the language that describes them and just, without any logic or understanding, just trying to flip it the other way just
Part of that is from Trump.
Yeah.
Trump has been, like, openly trying to call all leftists, A, Antifa, and B, fascists. Which is so... And anti-fascists are the fascists, according to Trump.
It's because they're trying to make this rhetoric that Antifa doesn't stand for anti-fascist. So it's like, so he can get away with, you know, calling an anti-fascist a fascist or a terrorist or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, by the way, Trump and his administration used Nazi symbols this morning.
Oh yeah,
They did. Facebook actually did something about it too for the first time ever.
Whole ass took the mask off and we're just like, it's Nazi concentration camp this morning.
Oh God. I can't believe Facebook actually did something about it, dude. That blows my mind on that one. But again, you know, I hope 100 years from now, I hope 200 years from now, everyone looks at 2020 and be like, man, I can't believe it was like that back then. Like, I can't believe they actually had to fight for, you know, equality. What a weird time, you know?
Yeah, we still fighting, even though we have had this fight 700 different times for different colors, different genders, different, all this shit. Like,
I mean,
sexualities.
taking away rights for trans people on the anniversary of the Pulse shooting, like that
happened this year.
That's not fucked up or anything, but that got overturned crazy enough. So, but yeah, that's basically what it was. A lot of it on the Tuesday show. And, I even said, obviously it sucks, that, Mike and Champ both said these guys. Do I honestly think that either of them are racist? Probably not, but both of them are stupid for what they said. And, I honestly do think that, and I know a lot of us are friends with Mike or whatever like that, but I think he should be banned too. I think him and Champ both deserve some sort of ban for repercussions on, just to kind of, it shouldn't be selective. You know what I mean? Like,
the problem with the Mike Z situation is, I shouldn't say it's not like a total problem, because Combo Breaker and East Coast Throwdown were the non-governing bodies that banned Champ.
Right.
The reason I mention this is because for Mike Z, how is Capcom Pro Tour going to ban him?
Right, exactly.
Obviously, he doesn't fucking play Street Fighter.
Right. You're banned from Capcom Pro Tour, Mike Z. Mike Z's going to be like...
So obviously there's not going to be any sort of Capcom ban.
Right, yeah. But I do think...
with Combo Breaker and East Coast Throwdown banning...
Right.
Champ, that is another story.
Yeah, and I had mentioned that too because, Combo Breaker is where the Skullgirls, essentially their Evo is. And to have Combo Breaker make that kind of a stand and make that kind of a point about it. And, that's the thing, right? I mean, I've heard Champ has said, he's like, whatever, I accept my, because what I said was stupid and things like that. And I'm sure Mike feels the same way kind of situation. But the fact that I actually personally, and like I said, I don't want to make it be like, oh, he's my friend and but I do. He is my friend and I like Mike Z a lot and everything. And what he said was really stupid and it made it that much more painful for me to hear it and that much more disappointing that he said it. But, I would imagine Mike would be the kind of person to be like, no, dude, I totally get it. Like, yeah, ban me because I was an idiot kind of thing. And if that's how he responds, that's good. And if he doesn't respond if he gets mad if Combo Breaker bans him, then we kind of understand more about him. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about a lot of it.
So my take on the whole thing, just to preface anything I'm about to say, is I think that Smash is ahead of the FGC as a whole, and that they have a governing body with set rules that say if you do these things, these are your punishments. I've heard whisperings that TOs are coming together to do that for the FGC.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know when it'll happen. I'm hoping that it's true and it does happen. Because we do need a set of rules to determine and not just say put on ECT or put on Combo Breaker to make that decision, right? Like they shouldn't have to be the beacons of light in the FGC. It should be these are the rules, break them, get fucked, basically.
It's an interesting situation because I've always been anti-governing body in the FGC because I do like that the FGC is more... Because I'm always scared of governing bodies because, in particular, our community has multiple games and I don't want, more pro-Capcom people on the governing body than pro-NRS people. Cause
but I don't think that has anything to do with, if you say racist shit,
right, and that's the thing. If we can create a governing body more just for a code of conduct... and has no other say.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
there's going to be a universal COC, at least from what I've heard, coming soon-ish. I hope it happens.
And
but where I was headed with that, regardless, was Champ getting banned by Capcom was a long time coming.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Champ has repeatedly, shit on Capcom. He's gone publicly and called them the R word over and over again, and not even trying to hide it. He will at Capcom fighters, at Bizarro Mike, and just be like, yeah, you guys are ours. I don't want to say the word. But yeah, he'll do that, and then he leaked several Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
He broke NDA several times.
And then
Curtain Gate.
He broke NDA hugely, the biggest breach of NDA I've ever seen from anyone ever. He took a dev kit and streamed it on Twitch for 3 hours.
Right.
It showed all these developer tools that nobody was ever supposed to know about. He showed like character slots and
He showed planned
what they had
DLC and all this
planned.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. He showed all this shit, and then when Capcom gave him the cease and desist, he said, "Well, if you guys still cared, aren't you developing the game?" Like that's not how that shit works, and he knows that. I know that he's not that dumb. So he's been like giving Capcom reasons to ban him for a long time, and now that they finally gave him a real reason, they're like, "Yep, bye." So that's why I think Capcom dropped the hammer, because he was asking for it. He wanted them to do something. It seemed like.
Yeah.
Mike Z, Capcom, like you guys said, why the fuck would they care?
Yeah.
So that's where the TOC comes in, and we need something like that in place. So when shit like what Mike Z did happens, we have a real set of rules to be like, hey, you broke the rule, this is your punishment.
Yeah.
So one thing, I thought I heard James say this, so I just need to ask, just so I have clarification. Did you say that Champ said he accepted his punishment or whatever? Is that what you said, or did you say Mike said that?
I heard that's what he had said. That's what I had gotten word of.
I think that's a little horseshit, because he tweeted at David right after David said to East Coast Throwdown and Rick when they banned him.
Oh,
from
yeah.
He tweeted at David like, "You've always been trying to get me fucking banned." Or Like he got really angry about it. All David said was, "Good work."
Right, yeah. No, trust me, I'm fully aware of that, because all of the F-Champ stands are yelling in our chats all the time, everywhere and everything. But no, I had heard, like, I think Champ streamed recently, and he said that he accepted or something. But
to talk about it on the day of.
Yeah,
and I have a huge fucking problem with that.
Yeah, and because he's just trying to get people to view his stream. You know, that's just all it really comes down to. So
this happened previously. I do not take someone monetizing the plight of others very well, like at all. And that's basically what he was doing, because he was he sat down and he was like, let's talk about it on my stream.
Yeah.
Make sure to sub.
And then all you're doing is inviting all your stands to come in and sub to you and everything. And you're absolutely monetizing it. So it's kind of screwed. I mean, like, Mike has basically disappeared off the radar. He's completely vanished.
As you should when you make a mistake like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So another thing I do want to point out, as a black man, I want to say that you should not tell another black person how to feel about that type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Mike Z said it, there was a black woman on the broadcast with him.
Yeah.
Sharpie. And a lot of people hounded her about not immediately doing something about it. To which I was fucking appalled that they were hounding her about this, because of course she didn't do anything immediately about it. She was probably in shock.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, how do you process that? Like,
you sit down, you're commentating with someone who made the game that is basically your life, right? Like, she has done. Sharpie is maybe single-handedly one of the biggest, like, uprisers of Skullcross that I've ever seen, right? Like, she carries that fucking game on her back. Not to say that it wouldn't prosper without her or anything. I'm saying that she goes above and beyond.
She's a champion of the game.
Absolutely.
She's
100%
champion.
My point is that you're sitting down, you're commentating with a person that you respect so much. You're really happy that they made this game. And you're also on this particular stream that is meant to help with this particular issue, right? So, and then that person, that role model, that person you looked up to or whatever kind of deal says that, not everyone is just going to immediately clap back. Like, people are going to be taken aback. They're going to be like, wait, did I just hear that?
I mean,
right?
If you watch the clip, Mike says what he says, and then things go silent for, like, the rest of the match.
Yeah, for like 30 seconds.
Sharpie had no idea how to respond.
Yeah.
Like you said, can you really blame her? Like,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it's fucking ridiculous to think that, like, she would immediately say something about that, I think. Because I am having conversations on Twitter where people are saying some dumb fucking shit, and I can't even respond to that immediately. And it's a Twitter conversation with someone I don't even know.
Right.
This is someone who created this game that she has been lifting up for years, putting her blood, sweat, and tears into.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
and it's just like, you know, Oni kind of says, like, that silence that happened afterwards says a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So.
and then also, Sonic Fox said that they forgive Mike Z.
Mm-hmm.
Again, do not tell a black person how to feel about the situation.
Yes. Absolutely.
That is their choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you or I agree with their choice is a whole nother matter, but we cannot tell them that they should feel that way or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Everybody's gonna have, you know, kind of like a different way to process the situation. And, you know, the thing about it is, you know, even if Sharpie and Sonic Fox have, you know, forgiven Mike, you know, neither of them are going to sit there and be like, oh, you know what Mike said wasn't wrong. You know, like, they've already said that it's wrong, that they didn't like what he said, but they talked to him about it personally and, you know, had a long conversation and talked about, you know, how it came out. And I'm sure he, like I said, he probably admitted to them or said to them that, you know, he was wrong and that he messed up or something, you know, to that degree.
Yeah, a private conversation is just that, you know, it's we don't know what was said or,
right.
you know, how it was. Like, for all we know, the both of them could have fucking went off on him for like an hour straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we don't even know. Like,
right.
You know, that kind of thing. But, like, the point is just don't tell them how to feel.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works. And of course, one black person will feel differently about that situation than another. We are not one, like, hive mind. That's not. We don't have the perfect answer.
You're not?
we don't have the perfect answers for each other, right? Like, you can't ask me how to talk to Sharpie about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be able to fucking tell you. Like it's just not. That's just not how it works, right? Like, so just I would just really like for people to stop hounding others who feel a certain way and trying to tell them how they should feel or, you know, what they should be doing or whatever the fuck, when, like, there's so many extenuating factors that can go into the amount of stress that shit kind of built up.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is can you imagine the amount of stress that probably caused for Sharpie? You know, like, that is
I can imagine a little bit of it. Obviously, I can't imagine the same thing.
Right.
I don't think any of us can. But
yeah. I mean, that moment right there, one of the reasons why she's silent is probably because as soon as he made that joke, it's like your whole world is shattering at that point in time, because now there's like a billion thoughts going through your mind, like, what the hell just happened, you know? And it's a tough situation to deal with. And everyone always says, you know, like, oh, hey, why didn't you say anything? Why were you silent? Blah, blah, blah. But then, you know, everyone wants to say that they can do those things. But then, like, when you're in public and you see someone being racist to someone else, do you publicly go and defend them? Or do you sit there and be like, what the hell, you know, kind of thing? It's like, when you're in the situation, it's always very different than when you're pretending to be in the situation.
Yeah, your theory crafting is not exactly what's going to happen or how it's going to go down at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a tough situation for her to be in. I feel really bad for her, but, you know, it's one of those situations that, you know, David and I have wanted to try to get her onto the Tuesday show if she wants to. Obviously, she's already been going through enough. If she doesn't want to talk about it, then we're not going to force her or anything like that.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty sure she was pretty fed up with it the moment it happened.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But
you know, I could be wrong.
More so to the fact that, you know, I had talked about it before, and I know I talked to you about it, Isaiah in particular. I didn't like the tweet about them trying to highlight certain black members in the fighting game community, because it felt like one of those, hey, look, we have black people in our community too, kind of things. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, in the Western Hemisphere, like, black people make up like 50% of the community. You know, like, you would spend more time trying to list the significant, like, Asian people than you would the black people in our community, you know? And, but at the same time, you know, there is worth it to highlight some of them. And so, you know, we kind of wanted to try to bring on a lot of different black members of the community, so they can talk about some of their inspirations and such, and try to spread the word about more of the people that have done good work,
So in regards to you talking about that, you probably remember this when you asked me about it, but I specifically said, like, some of us are going to like that type of tweet, and some of us aren't. That's just how it is, right? Like the highlighting is important, but at the same time, it does end up missing a few of us, right? Like, or missing a lot of us, because there's no way you can highlight everybody,
right?
And so some people will be pretty upset by that. Funny enough, I actually know someone who was pretty upset that they didn't get highlighted.
Oh, dang! Okay.
In that particular instance, right before you asked me, I spoke to them about it. So like it's something that can be kind of shitty, but it has really good intention behind it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not something that I would ever say, like, don't do that again. Like,
right.
Or just like, think about this or whatever. Cause like it's, unless it's something you do over time, you're not going to be able to highlight everyone regardless.
Right. And that's the thing, is like, Bodied Novel on Twitter, has been asking for unsung heroes and stuff. And, I listed Capwan. I don't know how many people out there even know who Capwan is in our community. He's the guy who's at every single CPT event and every single Evo and everything, on the stage, sending the matches up and doing all that stuff. And, he's a significant black member of our community. Someone just mentioned Reina. She's a super significant member of our community who has done a bunch of TOing for Big E and for Larry and a whole bunch of other people. I wonder even if some people don't even realize Tom and Tony Cannon are black. Like some people might not
Some people haven't even seen them before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I was going to say, it's like they are that publicly visible that often anymore.
Especially not these days. Even even before, it was like, they were less publicly available because there wasn't as much like camera footage and stuff at tournaments. But like, even now that their roles are a bit different than they used to be.
Yeah.
It's harder to even know who they are, what race they are.
And so, it's just one of those things, like, I mentioned that in my tweet too, is like, I understand the intentions behind this tweet are all positive, and I'm not like trying to like get mad at whoever made the tweet or whatever, but it's just that, I just feel like it's almost kind of a, I don't want to call it a disservice, but it like I said, I see those tweets from companies that have like, 95%, white people in the company, and they're like, hey, here's the black people who contribute to our company, kind of thing, whereas, like I said, in the fighting game community, I mean, you can't even talk about like the top players, for example, without noticing that like 60% of them are black people in our community. Talking about, the contributors, our TOs, our commentators, our everything, the fighting game community. I just feel like our lifeblood is the black community. You know what I mean? So like,
is the word you're looking for performative? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. Maybe that's kind of how it feels a little to me. And again, like I said, I know it has good intentions. I don't want to sit there and be like, like you said, it's not one of those things that I'd be like, don't you dare ever do that again. I just wanted to use it as a jumping off point for the conversation that there are that many significant black members of the FGC out there.
The reason I asked was simply to understand. I'm not trying to like call you out or anything. I wanted to know where you were coming with this.
Yeah.
Because like right now, it can probably be pretty difficult to understand whether or not something is performative.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
like people are having a paradigm shift, right? About the entire world and about the lives of black people. And so now that they're suddenly giving a crap or whatever. That could be genuine or that could be performative, and it's really hard to gauge for a black person.
Yeah.
So I guess I could see whether or not you might have like an inkling of a feeling that it could be.
Okay. I guess the best way to put it is I don't think it was performative. Now that I've thought about it a little bit more, I don't think it was performative, but I think it can come off that way a little dangerously. And
I think it had solely good intentions.
Personally,
but there's obviously no way you can do it without making at least one or two other people upset because they weren't mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like, to go along with that, if you guys saw the Polygon article that came out,
Oh yeah.
that primarily featured Tasty Steve, a lot of people were upset about that because it didn't mention any black women, it didn't mention trans people, it didn't mention all these other things.
Right.
So even though, like, the article was probably meant to just promote people doing good things, they left out a lot of people in the writing of it. And,
Yeah.
the author actually tweeted that they were sorry and they didn't realize they were doing that and blah blah blah. But yeah, like it's that's part of the problem is even if you intend well, you literally can't make everyone happy. You can't include everyone, and in doing that, it becomes exclusionary. So that sucks.
So that one in particular is a bit more egregious than the tweet of tag your the black person you admire in the FGC or whatever.
Sure.
I forget verbatim what was said because that one's like open, whereas this article was something that was planned and had to like they had to choose people. Right.
Well, I mean,
so,
the tweet that I'm talking about was something more like that. Was more like, here's a list of the people, and then there was like they listed a bunch of people in particular.
I thought it was like they would say their own people, and they left the thread open for other.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what it was. Maybe
was that not what it was?
Yeah,
I didn't see that tweet thread.
Okay. I'd have to double check. I didn't save the tweet or anything because I just was like, ugh. And so, like, I can't even.
If it's what you're saying, then yeah, it's a similar situation.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. But if it's what I thought it was, the article is more egregious, and it makes sense that a lot of people were upset about it because, again, it is planned, right? Like they can sit down and they can go, okay, we're trying to highlight black people in the FGC. We're trying to highlight the struggles, the ups, all that shit, right? The successes. And we asked Majin Obama and Tasty Steve, and that's it.
Right.
And and didn't think to like, oh, there are black women in the FGC. Oh, there are black trans people in the FGC. Oh, there are black non-binary, etc. And also like the different roles, right? Like not just commentators, but there's TOs. There's it's a very vast amount of the black community in the FGC doing so much, and it's one of those things where it definitely could have been a little more inclusionary, given a little bit more thought. And granted, it's obviously there was a lot of uproar that some people think was a bit too much, right? Versus the author. But when you're in a situation of being a black woman or a black trans person who is not included in this conversation, that happens daily, right? That becomes pent up stress, pent up anger, and of course they're going to explode.
Right.
It only makes sense to me. Like when I see like Amanda, she was very perturbed about not having a trans person or even a woman on there, right? For very good reason. Sure, it could be spoken to the author about in a more calm manner or whatever, but there's no way a black woman or a black trans person is going to be calm about that. At least not in my mind.
It's going to be very hard. I only know
like an iota of what goes on in their head, right? Like I know barely nothing.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to be calm in that situation because you feel like you've just been overlooked your entire life, right? You feel like you've been not even just ignored, but like rejected for being who you are,
It's more active than being overlooked.
Right. I mean, if it was being overlooked and ignored, that would almost be a step up, from a lot of the experiences they've been having. And that's one of the tough situations, And
so I again, like, completely understand why they would do that. And that's why I think the article specifically is a bit more egregious than, say, like that sort of tweet. Because it is a planned thing that, has other people looking at it and stuff like that, right? And so, they could have asked, like, who else should we have on this? Like, obviously, they don't have to, like, go out in the public and ask,
Right.
You know, they had two black members on. They could have asked, or they could have asked somebody at the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, like, hey, should we have a woman on here? You know, answers yes. You know, should we have like a trans person on here? Answers yes. Should we have a non-binary person? Like, there's no downside to having, you know, the extra diversity of that.
Right.
There's literally no downside. So it's I just really think, like, I understand that they really didn't think about it, and like I do think they have good intentions. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash the author or anything like that. But it is one of those things where, like, going forward, we all need to ask a second
more cognizant.
Yeah, and like that's not even just like indicative of this author, right? Like, I do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, many of us within the stream have done it, like in the chat here, you know, whatever. It's just because I'm sitting here and telling you guys, like, you know, it should have been this way, it doesn't mean I'm fucking like pristine about it, right? Like, it's just I'm trying to explain just a little bit of what I can about what I understand, because it's not a lot, because I am not in their shoes.
Yeah, and then the whole thing about it is, like, doing something is not enough. Doing more is important because, you know, of the circumstances. Again, you know, a lot of people get mad because they're like, oh, why you have to, that's, you know, this is like the reverse racism or whatever like that. No, I mean, the reason why we do this is because we need to promote, you know, the minorities, the people who are commonly overlooked, because
it needs to become the norm.
Right. We need to normalize it
without a spotlight, right?
Mm-hmm,
so you got to first put them the highest point of the pedestal, so that you can then make a new higher point of the pedestal once that becomes the norm, and then then complete diversity, and there's like no exclusion.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said in my tweet, I definitely made sure to say twice, you know, that I know the intention for putting out a tweet like that was noble, you know, that it was a good intention, but, you know, I probably could have worded it better, saying that I would like to use it as a jumping off point to highlight even more people, you know, to you know, explain to those who aren't aware that the fighting game community is just like it is the black community. You know what I mean? That the fighting game is the black community, especially in the Western Hemisphere. That if you took out the black community from the fighting game community, we're basically nothing. I mean, I truly, honestly believe that. Like, the black community make up like half of the FGC in the Western Hemisphere, and I think it's super important to establish that and make sure, you know, we don't want to whitewash our history. We don't want to be the, you know, winners who lie about history kind of thing. If we're going to be the winners of history and write it, I want to make it known that, you know, the FGC is the black community, that everything that has happened in the FGC, you know, there is a black member of the FGC that has had their hand in it. You know, that's how I feel about it, and it's I don't want to make it sound like, hey, look, we have black people in our community. that's all it was. That's all it really kind of came down to. So,
and speaking of you know, black people having a hand in our community, Renato asked a little while back what we thought of the League of Legends fighting game, and, you know, Tom and Tony are working on that. I have some real deep thoughts on what that game means for the FGC, and they're not all good. It's kind of scary in my eyes.
I have stated very publicly that I'm highly against Riot due to the fact that they treat their employees like shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And a lot of it is their women.
Yeah. They have the walkouts and everything.
Specifically, another instance was one of the trans people getting fired because they went to HR to talk about someone harassing them or something like that. That was, now, to be fair, I can't pull that up right now, so you don't have to believe this. But it was, they did, like, I did publicly see them talk about this on Twitter at one point.
Okay.
So I could be wrong. Obviously, you don't have to believe me. But the treating of employees is very well documented, and there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of articles that you can read on this.
I mean,
Yeah,
I know
So,
I know a girl who worked there who did get sexually harassed by someone important, and they were asked to leave the company, kind of thing, and be hush hush on it, kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Also, even outside of Riot, just anybody listening right now, you may think that HR is there for you. Human resources at any company are there to make sure that the company doesn't get sued. They are
Yes.
not on your side. They will never be on your side. So just keep that in mind if you feel you need to go speak with HR, because they're going to do everything they can to protect the company.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, for the Riot fighter, I am not a Riot fan. I don't play MOBA. I hate MOBA, actually. It doesn't matter if it's fucking League of Legends or Dota or any of them. The genre is stupid to me. But regardless of that, I am excited for maybe people like James Chen. I'm not going to say Isaiah because he has very clearly said fuck Riot. But maybe people like James Chen can get full-time commentary gigs, because the way I predict Riot handles it is they're going to handle their esports the same way they do with League of Legends.
Right.
And for those of you that don't know, if you are a caster, because they don't call them commentators, if you're a caster for Riot Games, you are not allowed to stream on Twitch. Anything you create is owned by Riot. You can only commentate Riot Games at the events that they tell you that you can do it at. However, you are definitely paid a living wage. You make very good money. And
get
it's
benefits.
a fantastic opportunity for people who want to do commentary for full time. So somebody like James might want to take that opportunity. However, I'm very scared because it's going to take people like James from us. And also, a lot of our quote-unquote pro players, they're only going to play the League Fighter, and they're not going to play because they like the game. They're going to play it because there's going to be money in it.
Right.
So one thing you mentioned about casters, where you are not allowed to commentate any other thing, that's actually indicative of the players too. They are not allowed to play other games if they are under contract.
Shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was that would take away some of that could be revised when League of Fighters comes out.
I did talk about this publicly one time, and people did say that they've started laxing on that a little bit so that you can commentate other games. Like, I think some league commentators have commentated in the Overwatch League and such. I'm not 100% sure, but
I know one of the commentators for the Overwatch League, whom I am not a very big fan of, used to be a league commentator and switched over to the Overwatch League because they were very vocal and angry about Riot's tweeting of them, and that was Monte Cristo.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He was a big proponent for the Fuck Riot movement, but he's also not the best person at the same time, so I can't exactly think it's crazy.
I mean, the whole weird thing for me is like if that was the case, if they were like, you can't commentate any other fighting games, I don't know if I'd want to take it, because that's antithetical to what I want to do in the fighting game community. But then if they were like, here's 6 figures and benefits, and you can live,
it's hard to walk away from that.
Right.
I was going to say, 6 figures in benefits, would you still say no?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what am I supposed to say? I mean, do I live off of my principles, or do I, want to actually eat and not be scared of dying from, medical bills and things like that? I mean, right now my health insurance situation is a complete it's a complete clusterfuck, and it makes me so mad.
Propose the same thing to me, because, at least they feel that, not all the commentators are going to want to take that, especially those of us that kind of do it more for fun, that have careers and they're not trying to be full-time commentators. So like, Topo, what if this was offered to you? And I don't know what I would do. Like, I really don't know.
Exactly.
Because I love fighting games with an S on the end. And I don't even know if I like their fighting game with an E on the end, We
haven't gotten to try it. The only thing that we know about the game so far was 2 very short clips in that really long trailer where they showed off all of their new games. Right. We know jack shit The canons have said that it's in like a very
Early.
alpha state,
Yeah.
so we're not going to see jack shit for probably a while.
Well, also though, we didn't think we were going to get Valorant for a while, and that
I
kind
guess
of
that's
came
true.
out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably farther ahead than they.
So wait,
made
Valorant is what? Riot's Overwatch,
It's their
basically?
tactical shooter. It's their tactical
Yeah.
shooter.
Okay.
So it's more so like CS:GO than it
Okay.
is Overwatch.
Okay.
But
It's
it has
like-
Overwatch elements because there are class-based abilities.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's literally CS:GO meets Overwatch.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know
So
anything
that
about
that
it.
genre is called tactical shooter.
I mean, they
because
have
of how
that, and then-
slow-paced it is.
They also came out with Runeterra, right? So
Yeah,
you know,
Runeterra is their card game.
yeah, so they're definitely spreading around in there. But I mean, do we know anything about how Valorant and Runeterra are being operated in terms of esports? Is it the same kind of thing where if you
No,
commentate,
They currently don't have esports anything announced for either of those two things.
okay.
But when they do, I feel, at least for Valorant, we're going to have a real good idea of what they're going to try to do for fighting games. And if they don't allow their fighting game at our already created grassroots events, there's going to, I feel like it's going to create a big rift in the fighting game community.
Yeah.
Because Riot's not going to give a shit if Combo Breaker is every Memorial Day weekend. If they want to run an event that weekend, they're going to.
They're going to do it, yeah.
You know,
And,
they're not going to give a shit
Right.
if Evo happens then or
Yeah,
CEO.
I mean-
like, they're just going to do their own thing.
That's the weirdest part about the whole situation is that the game is being worked on by the guys who created Evo. So, you know, like,
Yeah, you want to believe that the Cannon brothers are going to do as much they can to push that it stays
Right.
grassroots, or that we can have that kind of thing. But Riot has so much money and so much power and influence that they may just not be able to say no.
right.
Yeah, I must say also, if Tom and Tony are just devs, even if they're higher up devs, they're still just devs. They're not
Yeah.
CEOs at the company.
Right.
Their word on how to handle shit outside of creating the video game itself, Riot's not going to care.
And they've definitely shown that they don't give a shit, because Riot's current esports ecosystem, the gigantic amount of money that they bring in for this game called League of Legends started due to the fact of all these grassroots League of Legends tournaments.
Right.
One of the fighting game events that I went to way back was a fighting game / League of Legends event.
yeah.
One side of the ballroom was all League of Legends computers, right? They were doing their team matches and everything, and we were playing fighting games over there. That is literally no longer possible because they get rid of any grassroots events that are like publicly advertised and things
Right.
like that. They cease and desist those.
Mm-hmm.
You are not allowed to do that. It has to be esports pro league specifically, right? And it creates a gigantic bubble. Not even a gigantic bubble, a medium-sized bubble, because you have to break in through really difficult means if you're a
Yeah.
player, kind of deal. So you get, if you're a player, you're in there, right? Like if you
Right.
get in there, you're fucking in there.
Like,
and no one's gonna take your spot.
Yeah,
kinda
like,
deal.
is the Riot fighting game gonna have open tournaments that anybody can
That's the
enter?
question.
You know,
Big
or is
question,
it,
man.
or is it just gonna be like, Justin Wong, Riot fighting game player?
I think they'll have tournaments, but they'll have ginormous online qualifiers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
and then anything offline is specifically like, oh, these people who were specifically part of the Riot contract, and then maybe these two people who qualified, kind of.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like that type of shit. And that's part of what I hate about esports and what
Yep.
I love about the fighting game community is Gutex actually said it best. I don't know if you guys have ever seen what is it called? It was made by Ian Cofino. I Got Next.
Yeah.
You ever seen I Got Next?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Gutex has an example. He's like, man, if I'm on the basketball court and I play a lot of basketball in my hometown, I can't walk up to Kobe Bryant and be like, yo, Kobe Bryant, play me in a game to 11, right? I can't do that shit. But in fighting games, if I think I'm hot shit, I'll walk up to Justin Wong and be like, put my $10 down and like, all right, play
Right.
me first to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how fighting games work. Like, everybody can enter the bracket. Anybody can win any given
Yep.
Sunday. Esports aren't like that.
Yeah, no.
Like, I can't just show up with my squad of 5 to a fucking CSGO major and enter. They would laugh at me.
and that's
So
the thing.
you have to be a pro first. And
Right.
the route to make that happen is less realistic than being an actual professional athlete.
Yeah,
some of the esports do allow for more grassroots events, but I think it's the biggest ones don't, except for I think Dota actually is like whatever on it if I remember correctly. Like I think they're just okay with it, but I could be wrong. It's not something I research a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the arcade culture. You put a quarter up, you can play, and that's the important thing. And it looks like
Riot, you got the money, bro. Enter. Like,
yeah, Riot just announced something literally 2 days ago. It looks like here, according to Renato. Ignition series, our first step after launch to build a robust competitive ecosystem for Valorant.
Oh, for Valorant.
Yeah, at this early stage, it's important for the esports scene to grow naturally in a way that will authentically develop talent, player, and stars. Valorant esports should reflect the voice of the community, which will only be possible if you continue to provide us feedback at every step.
So for me personally, that sounds like a lot of blank words.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
It started out with League of Legends. It started out just like that, you know. It was all community based. They actually had a program where you could opt in if you're a tournament organizer, and they would give you free shit for prizes and whatnot.
Well, here, listen to this. So, as such, we're introducing the Valorant Ignition Series, an official Riot partner program where we spotlight a few tournaments each week, help discover talented players, and build global recognition for top Valorant pros and teams. To create
the exact same thing that happened in League of Legends.
To create the Ignition Series, we've partnered with more than 20 esports organizations around the world to bring you Valorant events. Each organizer will use their expertise to design their own unique Ignition Series tournament. We expect to see a combination of competitive open qualifiers, show matches, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this sounds like that they're letting the community create everything to build the momentum, and then they have the right to erase it all and take it over.
And take it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, we can't just say that that's for sure going to happen, right? Like, we don't know that for 100%.
Right.
Maybe they've learned the lesson or whatever, but
we're skeptical.
I cannot be, like,
I can tell you that they learn how much money they're going to make by doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot be more clear that this has happened once before.
Right.
They had an esports program for League of Legends. You know, they talked about how much they cared about the grassroots and shit. And then once that allowed them to create a big old esports thing, they took that shit and they killed everything else off.
Yeah, I mean, like, Chubby says it best. It's a way to have the community spend money to scout the talent on who you can basically take away and go, okay, you guys are going to run everything now, and now nobody can do anything. Now, of course, like you said, that's cynicism. We're all being super cynical here. Maybe they mean it, but, you know.
I am
history.
very skeptical on it. Like, I would very much love to be wrong about all the shit I have said so far, right? Like that, you know, Riot's like still going to treat their employees like shit. I don't want to, you know, play League of Fighters because of that, or commentate it or any of that shit. I don't want to do, you know, I don't want to ruin the fighting game ecosystem. You know, maybe I want to be wrong, right? Like I would very much be happy to be wrong, and that Riot has somehow learned a lesson that it's bad, even if it loses the money, et cetera, right?
I mean, Shay says that even Slasher agrees with us. So I guess Slasher has reported that they're going to let community build up first 2 years, then take over. Yep. I mean,
that sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
Like,
and I could see them doing that with fighting games too.
Yep, exactly.
The only reason I'm so adamant about them doing that is because I was literally there when they were doing that. I was playing League of Legends at the time. I entered tournaments for League of Legends at the time.
Right.
This was before I found out about Riot being a shit company and all that shit. But like, yeah. So I was firsthand. I had the ability to play League of Legends in tournament, and I did. And then that was eventually taken away. Right. I used to watch LCS all the fucking time, dude. Like, I used to have teams that I rooted for, you know, it was as if it were basketball for me and shit. I was a vocal supporter. I was like, yeah, this game's sick. You guys should come play it with me.
The hopeful part is that the FGC will be at a point where if Riot is like, oh, hey, you're not allowed to run this game at these events and everything, that the FGC will be just like, you know what? Well, screw this. We're not going to play you at all anymore. But, you know,
I'm very skeptical of that because when I was vocal about it, the moment League of Fighters got announced, I lost followers from some high-profile professional fighting game players. They didn't want to hear, and you know, they would say stuff about like, if you're being negative,
Right. So
they immediately like subtweeted afterwards.
The whole thing is that maybe because we've had, decades of history that it could combat it, but the hard part is it's the top players who everybody are fans of and are going to be streaming the game, and if they get paid enough money, like we were saying earlier, if Riot was like, "Hey James, here's this money, and benefits, and you can live comfortably for the rest of your life, commenting
it
this
is
fighting
very
game."
hard to walk away from.
Right. What am I going to do, at that point? Can I maintain my principles at that point?
My only thing, James, is if like you or I or Isaiah or anybody wants to go that route, basically as soon as the game comes out, we have to go all in.
Yeah.
That's because Riot's going to be looking for commentary talents, and they're going to poach us from the people that have been putting in the work and making content and streaming tournaments and all that shit. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're not going to, come to James Chen, the Street Fighter commentator, be like, "Hey, you want to come commentate our game?"
Right.
No, they're going to look at the guy who's been doing it for 2 years already and go, "Hey, everyone knows you. Come, we'll give you, $98,000 a year in benefits."
Right.
So that's my only thing.
They definitely will. Like, that's the thing is like they definitely will give you something that is worth it.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing though, is like we're not gonna be able to wait and see and decide. It's going to be, hey, here's our fighting game. We're gonna put out the beta for X amount of time, and then we're gonna release it. And basically, when that beta goes live, is when you have to make a decision if you're gonna go all in or not.
Right.
And that's how they operate. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what people do, because I have no clue what I'm gonna do.
I mean, for me, it'll also depend largely on whether I like the game or not, to be honest with you. So, I mean,
that is a big deal. Yeah.
But when you know that they'll pay more than a living wage to commentate, does it matter?
Yeah. Do you even care if you like the game? Like, at that point?
Simple. So, don't quote me on this because I don't know the guy very personally, besides we've interacted in tournaments and such. But I've heard, at least for the first 2 seasons, Daigo hated Street Fighter V.
Right, yeah.
Like, pretty vocal about that, if I remember correctly, actually.
Did not like that game. And he still went super hard, and he still gave it everything he had, as much as he hated it, because he is a professional Street Fighter player. That's what he does, right?
Yeah.
So even if you don't like the game, James, you're a professional commentator, and if you want to have the best chance possible at doing this for, your life, here it is. So what do you do?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know why Daigo didn't like Street Fighter V, but that's my theorizing again, heart versus, but mind players. I know we've talked about this a million times, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but, God, yeah, I mean, seriously.
Wiley, I can tell you from experience that I have commentated games that I absolutely love and games that I only kind of like, and nobody's ever noticed a difference when I really try.
I just stopped commentating the ones I didn't want to.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore either. But there have been times where games I'm just not as excited about as others. You couldn't tell the difference about how much I like the
for
game.
me, you could. Because I still remember watching, like, the thing that taught me to never commentate a game that I don't like ever again was someone put out a highlight clip, I think I told you guys about this before, of hype moments from Street Fighter Cross Tekken during the course of its existence. And obviously I was in a lot of the clips, and I was sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, my God, you can tell I hate this game. My God, these are all like backhanded compliments and, all this shit.
I can't say that I've ever commentated a game I hate.
Yeah.
I've never done that. So that might be a bit different.
Yeah.
But it's more like games I like versus games I love.
Yeah. That, for me, I can commentate a game I like. But if it's a game that I actively dislike, like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I mean, I was just watching that clip and I was like, man, if I was a fan of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I'd be pissed at me. I'd be so pissed because my commentary was so annoying. Like, it was just not good.
I should start doing Fantasy Strike commentary and see what it's like to commentate a game you hate.
Dang.
There's been a lot of that in games that I play specifically.
where both players and even some commentators are like specifically like they hate it and they still do it anyway, which is hilarious because I play a lot of games that don't have money in them. But I think it's terrible that does that, because that makes the game look bad.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people who are saying that, oh, you know, this game is bad, if they say that outright and they're still playing it, it looks bad on the game, right? Like, it makes less people want to look at the game. So a great example of this is Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. There were some people just playing the game just because it was you know, being pushed by Arc on its launch for a little while, and it was like they were thinking maybe something was going to happen with it, right? And so they were just playing with it, but they were very vocal about hating the fucking game. And like, it was just like, just stop fucking playing it. It's not like there's like $6 million on the line for this game. Like, it's an anime fighter. Like, calm down. But like, and it was specifically detrimental to the game. And I knew this because there were testimonies of people telling me, like, yeah, because I heard other people talking about the game like this, I just didn't even want to try it. Right. So like, one of the people that I talked to was Sway from New York, right? Marx's head. He didn't want to play BB Tag because everybody was talking shit about it. He was just like, yeah, I like this. It sounds like no one that plays the game likes the game, right? So I don't want to try it. And then he ended up trying the game, and he started entering tournaments for it, and he was like practicing a lot, and he started making it far in brackets, and he was like, "Wow, this game is sick."
Right? I mean, look what happened to MVCI, right? Negative comments and hate killed that game. It absolutely did, you know.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. I'm not gonna ever downplay that. Game is ugly.
So like for BB Tag in particular, I'm not saying that like you will like the game or someone else will like the game, right? Like, I'm not. In fact, when people ask me if they should play BB Tag, I usually tell them it's not for everyone.
Right.
But actively discouraging someone from trying a game is specifically bad. So and that does go for people who hate the game on commentary as well.
Yeah.
And you can just tell.
And that's one of the things that, you know, David and I write an article for our Patreon every week on UltraChenTV, and that's kind of what I decided to do. Was there's just so much hate out there about people always talking about why they hate a game, not enough about people why they like a game. And so I'm starting like a whole series, and the last one that I did is why I love Soul Calibur so much, you know, because I've had to get back into the Bud Light Beer League and, you know, immerse myself in the game again. It's just, my whole brain is like, why did I ever stop playing this game? Like, this game is just, it's so cool. This game is so fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, I talked about it, and, you know, because I'm so focused on this stupid heart versus mind narrative kind of thing, I really feel like Soul Calibur is like the heart version of Bandai Namco's fighting games. You know, that game is just, it's so much about just the decision making and what you feel like doing at this time, you know, kind of thing.
Soul Calibur players are probably the best at stealing away turns that I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah,
they don't give a shit about if they're -40.
Yeah,
like I'm just gonna tell you right now, they will find a way.
And I am so, like, it makes a lot of sense to me now why there's no crossover between Soul Calibur and Tekken.
They're completely different games, James.
Like, there's not a single person who plays both. Like,
no, there definitely is.
Well, not at the super high level, right? I mean,
okay, maybe you got me there.
Yeah, but there's definitely people who play both. But I'm talking about, like, you know, like, let's talk about like Linkors, or let's talk about, you know,
so Rich Sticks,
Anakin. Oh yeah, Rich Sticks. Okay, there you go. There you go.
I don't believe his Tekken performances is as high level in like even close
as
his Soul Calibur performances, right? And there are Tekken players who are high level that play Soul Calibur, but again, it doesn't end up translating the same way.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing, you know, I'm such a heart player that, you know, I love heart games like Samurai Showdown, and Soul Calibur is so much like that. It's about just like, you know what, I need to get in on Ivy, I'm just gonna fucking run at her at this moment, you know, like...
You're gonna run in and grab her, bro? What's wrong with you?
Like, you know, it's just like, that's just how it works, right? That's just, that's the game. Whereas, other games are like, oh, here's... I mean, Tekken isn't as bad as Street Fighter V in terms of not being able to play outside. Tekken still has a lot of the heart in there because of the crushes and high-low crushes and sidesteps and things like that. But Soul Calibur is just on a completely different level with that. It's just you just do shit because it feels like the right thing to do at this moment.
Yeah, and that, like, that love for that game will show in your commentary.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you're playing fucking League of Fighters and you just happen to like just pretending you hate it, off the top of my head right now, like, that would more than likely show if you're sitting down and commentating that at
like I said,
whatever
just get that
Riot event.
Get that Street Fighter Cross Tekken highlight video. It's a highlight video, and you can already tell that I didn't like the game.
Highlights?
Oh man.
It definitely had some highlights. I'm actually a proponent of thinking that the game was pretty good after the patch. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think it's too late at that point.
I still didn't even like it.
Late. Everybody had given up before that.
I still didn't like it. I still didn't even like it after the patch, which is crazy.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, that's the thing is, like, sometimes you just don't like a fucking video game.
Right.
I didn't like Marvel Infinite, and it didn't have anything to do with what people were saying negatively about the game, right? Like, because I tried playing it.
Right. Yeah.
You didn't like Cross Tekken. Probably didn't have anything to do with people not like talking negatively about the game. You probably just didn't like it.
I didn't enjoy it. It felt like I didn't like a lot of what I had heard also going into the production of it. I did get like some insider information, and I just really didn't like a lot of the philosophies they had making the game. So, yeah.
Hollywood James Chen, always getting the secret information.
I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons why I think I kind of avoid getting insider information now, is just because sometimes I feel like it's just better not to have it a lot of the time. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's just I just think that if you genuinely dislike a game, you probably shouldn't be actively playing it.
Yeah.
Because, well, for one, why are you stressing yourself out, right? That is the most important part of that, right? The second being, why are you specifically trying to kill this game by saying, like, you don't understand that the words you're putting out there into the internet are specifically having effects on other people even trying the game, let alone playing it in the long term.
That's the thing too, is that, again, that's part of the whole maturity level. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean, it's the shh, let people have fun, meme that's out there. It's like, other people enjoy it. Why are you trying to ruin it for anybody else? I mean, even back before I played Tekken 7, and I never understood Tekken. I never liked watching it. I had no idea how it played. I didn't get it. The game didn't make any sense to me. So in a way, I didn't like the game. But I never said that because I never given the game a chance. I never wanted to be like, Tekken sucks, because I just didn't understand it. So I refused to ever say anything negative about it. The most I've ever said was, yeah, that was the time that I went and ate during Evo, was Tekken top 7, kind of situation. And that's, I don't feel like it's justified or fair for me to say anything negative about it when I didn't understand it at all. And now that I understand it, I know exactly why a lot of people like it, and I enjoy it myself. I probably like Soul Calibur more in the end than Tekken 7, as it turns out. But I still really enjoyed the game. I loved learning it. I had a great time playing it. And now that I can even play it at a remotely competent level so that I can have fun at a casual session, is nice. It's great because, like I said, it provides a different enjoyment,
Yeah. And I mean, I'm with you. I don't think it's good to talk negatively about any fighting game. And I say that knowing damn well what I'm about to say next is negative, but every fighting game that's currently played in the fighting game community has its merits. There is one game though that I directly tell people to not play, and that's Fantasy Strike.
Oh, Fantasy Strike.
That is 100% Fantasy Strike, because the game, like flat out, whether I like the game or not is irrelevant here. It doesn't have low blocking. And it's touted as a beginner-friendly, learn how to play 2D fighting game, right? Low blocking is crucial to learning how to play 2D fighters. It's one of the most important things you can learn. It doesn't have it. It has fucking cross-ups. Doesn't have low blocking. So that alone makes me feel like if you want to learn, it's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's got left-right
mix-ups. Really
mix-ups.
weird about it is the way you tech throws is you do nothing.
Yeah, you press nothing. You hold no direction. You have to do nothing, which is directly counterintuitive to learning how to tech a throw in another game.
Exactly. So I feel personally like it does a really bad job at teaching you how to play other 2D fighting games, which is what David Sirlin has touted it as being like the step into fighting games, right?
Right.
It's counterintuitive to what they're trying to accomplish. So that's why I tell new people who are like, oh, what fighting games should I learn if I want to learn to play fighting games? I just say not Fantasy Striker. You're gonna learn the wrong shit.
Right.
I usually just point somebody to the one that they have the most fun with, because like when you have the most fun with a game, you actually want to sit down and learn it rather than like if I sat down and played Tekken right now, I wouldn't attempt to learn anything because I'm just like I'm not having fun.
Damon, I think, said the one of the like most crucial things on Twitter today. He was like, all you people out there excited for Skate 4 better learn all the motions and everything like that, but all you fighting game people are like, no, motions are too complicated, it's like, the difficulty is the enjoyment. Learning to do all...
It's not always the enjoyment for everybody.
Well, not always, but I mean, for something like Skate, like that, kind of what it was for me was learning how to do all the different tricks and everything.
The enjoyment of Skate for me was watching the bodies flop around.
Okay, well, true. True. Fair.
I would like to say, as far as like learning to do fireball motions and DP motions and things like that go, I'd be pressed to say that the only people I've seen that actually play fighting games that get upset about that shit, and it's because I call Smash a fighting game, is like low-level Smash players. Because high-level Smash players are like, yeah, whatever, you do a quarter circle forward and Ryu throws a fireball, I get it.
Right.
They don't fucking trip out about it. But like scrubby Smash players, those are the ones who are like, well, I have to fucking do a motion and do a spell. This is too much. Why can't I just hit forward and a button? Those are the only people that are upset about motions. I've never, ever, ever heard a new player go, I have to do this to throw a fireball? Pfft, no way am I going to try to learn this. Like, nobody does that. So I really don't like the whole motions have to be simple thing. I don't think that's true.
And the other part about it, too...
fucking pretzel motion from SNK games. I'm not trying to quadruple half circle forward back, do a backflip twist. Of course I don't do that shit, but there's nothing wrong with double quarter circle forward. There's nothing wrong with DP motions, things like that. I don't think anybody's actually tripping about that stuff.
And the other thing that makes it difficult as well is that, it's just like you were saying about the negative commentators about fighting games. You get enough people out there talking about how much they hate uppercut FADC as being something stupidly hard, and then everybody else is like, yeah, I can't do that at all, and it becomes a narrative that everybody repeats. And I've told everybody that
and that was easy.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I've told everybody, if you want to learn uppercut FADC into Ultra, dude, just come talk to me. I will get you doing that shit in no time, because, like, the way it's about how to teach how to do it. And a lot of people never understood how you make it so that it's a lot easier to do, because to them it was, okay, I have to do an uppercut motion. Once I do the uppercut motion, I have to remember to hit these buttons, but then I have to remember to hold it, and then I have to there's so many things that you can blend in together and turn it into one thing, and so then it's just all muscle memory at that point. It's so much easier to do. So and
even things like break the targets. There's really clever ways to teach people how to do these things that fighting game devs just don't take advantage of yet.
Dude, I mean, I always say
I think Grant kind of did it with the RPG mode.
Did you play the RPG mode?
For like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I have completed the RPG mode and all that shit. I played that shit, grinded it out, made sure to get S rank on every mission. I did it.
How was it?
Wow.
How was it?
Dedicated.
I just think it's a fun little side thing to do.
Okay, but I mean, as a fighting game player, did it feel like it kind of subconsciously or subtly helped you learn things? Like, because...
Well, I mean, I've already learned all that shit, so, like, it was...
Because, like, for example, one of my favorite things about the Subspace Emissary in Brawl was that they forced you to use characters, but then there were stages where you could pick any character. And
the same goes of RPG mode in Grand Blue.
Okay, see,
and when you first get a character and you do their side mission that explain that they have unique to them, it is a tutorial on what that character does.
Right. And see,
So,
what I liked about that was that it accidentally or subconsciously forced you into preferring certain characters over others. And so by the time you go into an actual match, you already felt more comfortable using Pikachu and lightning yourself and killing everything, you know, and that kind of helped you choose a character. You know, those kind of things is what I'm talking about, you know. And, you know, by having Subspace Emissary, by having things come at you from different sides and everything, you know, you learn how to attack in different directions and things. You know, there was just a lot that I really liked about Subspace Emissary. When I played it, and I know a lot of people kind of didn't like it, but I thought
I was a big fan.
I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it was really smartly done. And I thought
I hear most people talk about Subspace Emissary as the best thing about Brawl.
Oh yeah,
Brawl, but
okay.
They love Subspace Emissary.
Okay.
Whereas me, I just love Brawl.
Okay.
And that has never been a secret.
And those are the things, right? Though that's how you teach people how. Like the fact that Mortal Kombat 11 story mode has it so that you can skip fights. You know, like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just bought the game recently, and I was like getting ready to.
Yeah, and they don't really like the AI is so bad that even though you're playing in it, like you're not really learning anything anyway. They don't put like I don't actually remember if they put like on the screen like here's some basic strings that you should use, you know, or something like that, you know.
Well, it has like an actual regular ass tutorial mode, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think so.
So they probably didn't care to put that in the story mode since there's already a tutorial
but I mean,
for it.
I think that's what me and James were saying is like they should.
Yeah.
Hey, I get that for sure.
Yeah, it should be embedded in those things. And, you know, you mentioned break the targets, and I know I've said break the targets in home run contests like a bazillion times that I think are like some of the most important ways that people have learned how to play Smash Brothers. You know, I think it's so important. And, you know, like, you know, Chubby mentions the Killer Instinct tutorial, and as much as I like the Killer Instinct tutorial, the Eunice tutorial, the Skullgirls tutorial, I still think they're all bad tutorials. You know, as much as I like the Them's Fightin' Herds tutorials, I'm not a fan of direct tutorials because it's too much information all at once. Nobody will go play them again after they get the trophy for completing
people look
it.
at them as work.
Yeah, and they call tutorials, so you feel like you're learning, you feel like you're being educated, and so they feel like the slog to get through to get to something else. Whereas if you're doing home run contest and break the targets, you're like, I'm trying to break the target. You're like, how the hell do I hit this? Oh, if I call Pikachu's lightning down, the lightning actually hits. Oh, that's cool, you know, and you learn that kind of stuff, and I think that's really important.
So, Them's Fighting Herds. I thought the tutorial was the story mode in that game because they teach you like jumping around and shit. Was I wrong about that?
I think they have both. I think they have a regular tutorial, and I think they have a story mode that has tutorial elements in it. So
Okay,
I
so
played the
is
game.
that not-
I played the game before it was the official release, and I played the tutorial that they had that they went over all the mechanics and everything like that. I haven't done the story mode yet, to be fair, so
Okay.
I'll have to check it out.
I was thinking that like I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, Them's Fighting Herds has the thing that you're talking about built in.
I've also seen like
could be
mini
wrong.
games for like Arizona where you have to short hop on all the platforms because if you accidentally do a regular jump, you hit spikes on the ceiling, which I think is like really cool. So if that's part of the story mode, I think that's awesome. That'd be really, really cool.
The other thing is the Guilty Gear one.
Yeah.
When you turn on the game, it teaches you how to play. In this Smash Brothers-esque fashion.
Yeah.
Not like an actual. So like you have to jump over the towers, right? Like and you have to hit Jacko's minions in a specific way. You can't hit them like with you have to hit them with kick rather than punch, right? You have to hit them with slash rather than heavy slash or whatever.
And there were like the races where you had to try to get to the other side as fast as possible, you know. And see,
just run.
I like those things, but they should be more designed they should be presented as mini games. They should be presented as something fun to do and like the better time you get better rewards for cosmetics and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I'm.
So you actually do get if you do the Guilty Gear stuff, you do get rewards.
Oh, okay, cool.
You get the in-game money to be able to buy the colors. And
Oh
shit.
yeah. I just mean like, also maybe even having a leaderboard for like times, and then you can like do a time. You're like, whoa, I did this break the targets with Dizzy in like 2 minutes. I'm badass, and you see someone else has 1 minute and 36 seconds. You're like, what the fuck? How'd they do that? And you go watch their replay, and you'll see them doing like crazier advanced things, and you'll be like, shit, I'm gonna learn that. You know what I mean? And like, then that kind of forces you into learning these things in a way that it's your desire, and then you're trying to figure it out and like try to figure out how they do stuff without having to be told that you're learning is kind of the thing. So
it doesn't have a leaderboard, but it does track your time on those.
Yeah,
it does actually track your time. So I guess you could share that with your friends, and then you guys can figure it out. But yeah, no, a leaderboard would probably be better if you could watch their replay kind of deal.
For sure.
So, yeah, in any case, I mean, tutorials is definitely something that fighting games are missing very drastically and very badly.
Absolutely. I think the entire FGC is in agreement that as of right now, people wanting to learn is not there unless they're already FGC in a way. Or if they're just like extremely passionate about being competitive in anything, right? Like if you just kind of have that heart and soul, you're willing to do it. But even if you don't play fighting games. But if you don't have that, there's no incentive.
Yeah, I always feel like tutorials are the best thing ever for people who already know fighting games and watch it and go, this is cool. But for actual beginners, I don't know if it's actually useful for them. So
no, it's just too much to take in all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
Yeah, like I always like.
One thing Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was about to say, like, I always wanted to do, like, a break the targets kind of thing for Street Fighter, where it was, like, a side-scrolling thing where, like, things would come from the sky that you had to high block, things would crawl on the ground that you had to low block. There would be walls that you had to break, and some of them would be broken by number of hits in a combo versus damage done to it. There would be some things that would flash between invincible and not invincible that you can't really tell, and so that when you hit it, you'd have to hit confirm. You wouldn't commit to like going fierce uppercut like right away, because then you'd be stuck, and so instead you would go jab jab, and then that would, if it was invincible, you wouldn't commit as much time to that. Like little things like that I kind of want to develop. And if you don't tell anybody about that, like, this is how you hit confirm, like, they're just gonna learn it. Just generally watching other people do it and things like that. That's kind of what I'm hoping for in a lot of ways, for teaching people, is to create this kind of, idea of how to, like, it would be really important, like in a Tekken thing, if you could learn how to high crush and low crush things, like using attacks that go under things, Soul Calibur, sidestepping, I don't know, just like all sorts of things like that, so.
No, I mean, that's fair. I get it.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to actually, it's hard to implement that because it's not always something that sounds like a casual player is going to play every time.
Yeah, and it won't. There's no way to prove that it'll sell your game, so there's no way to ever want to put the money into that, because that shit's expensive.
You know what should sell fighting games, and what's, I want to say, been proven, but man, Marvel is the outlier. IPs. IP self-fighting games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the IP, Dragon Ball Fighters, I should be more specific, has sold 5 million copies now.
Yep.
I think that's the most successful anime fighting game of all time.
And that's why having like cool 3D graphics is important, dude. Because me and David were talking about this, or who was I talking about this with? We were talking about who could make a new Darkstalkers game. I think it was me and David were talking about it, and a lot of people did bring up Lab Zero, but the problem is they would do it sprite based, and then you wouldn't get all the cool animations and for supers and things like that, camera changes and angles. And while most fighting game players are like, we don't care, but obviously it makes a huge difference for
casual players are the moneymaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they will buy that game even if they only play it for a few days. They will buy that game.
Yep. Mortal Kombat sold bajillion copies and doesn't have has 1,000 people at Evo, right? So.
Mortal Kombat was also when Mortal Kombat 10 came out, it was the most watched game on Twitch for a while.
Yeah.
Beating out like League of Legends and stuff. So if I feel like if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does.
Exactly.
IP self-fighting games. So.
Yep. And that's
Which
why
is just so weird to me that Marvel 3 and Marvel Infinite didn't sell that well.
Well,
I mean, I get Marvel Infinite because it's ugly as sin. Like,
right.
I get it. And it got memed to death.
Right.
But, like, why didn't Marvel 3?
Because Marvel wasn't as big at that time. Because that was right when everything was coming out.
Most of the people that were playing Marvel 3 were comic book nerds, not movie watchers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Iron Man was out, of course, but, like, there was no cinematic universe. It was just
right.
It was like 2 or 3 movies.
Yep.
Right?
It hadn't quite gotten there.
At that point.
It's such an unfortunate timing because honestly, if Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out when MVCI did, like, oh my god, dude, like that shit.
Or if MVCI wasn't a dumpster fire.
Right, if it didn't look as ugly as it did, yeah.
You know, if they had a bigger than $20 budget and freedom to do what they wanted, could have been big.
Yeah, and then yeah, like Wesley said, there was the MVC3, and then 9 months later, UMVC3, and everybody was like, "What the hell?"
I remember the exact day it was announced too. I was at a friend's house. I was sleeping on the couch, and I woke up to the announcement. I woke up. I pulled out my phone, and everybody was freaking out about it.
Right.
I was like, because and that was the same day that they found out that the characters were just up on the website, despite the fact that they hadn't been announced yet.
Right.
So I lost my shit because obviously I was already playing Marvel 3 and I was happy about it. But because they finally put Virgil in the game, and I was like, we're fucking in there, bro.
Oh god, you were a Virgil brother. Okay. Oh man.
I'm a big DMC head.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that. But
history.
But yeah. So, like, some people were pretty excited about Ultimate because it brought characters that we wanted from the previous game, right? Like Frank West. Like, everybody wanted Frank West. Yeah. Everybody was asking for fucking Phoenix Wright. I was super excited about Phoenix Wright.
Dude, I would have been more excited.
I played him for maybe 2 months before I decided it was not worth it.
I was real excited about Hawkeye and Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are right, though. There was a lot of extraneous things, license running out, the earthquake in Japan, all these things affected UMVC3's launch. So, you know, it wasn't just necessarily like someone made a really shitty decision, but, you know, it was a shitty decision that was kind of forced into everybody's hands, you know. So,
yeah. It was both great and unfortunate at the same time.
Dude, Tatsunoko versus Capcom, which Wesley brings up in the chat. God, you know, even for a Wii game, that game still looks so good. I really like it.
Yeah.
That game was
I agree.
I think it's the best looking game on the Wii, like completely, just without question, in my opinion. So
could be. No, was pretty good.
Which one?
Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
well, no,
on the Wii.
No, that's Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess.
There we go.
Yeah, Twilight Princess.
I thought you were talking about Skyward Sword.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I thought this did look really good too.
Yeah, I mean, I missed some of the things that Tatsunoko did. Like, I loved the higher you went up in the air combo, the more the screen would scroll, that you would see the floor more and stuff. Like they don't do that in UMVC3 as much, and I missed that.
Yeah, they only put like really hard to notice elements in the background of the top of the stages and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I remember in the Daily Bugle, it's like you go past up top and there's like a helicopter up there and stuff like that, and then eventually you just get so far there's like nothing up there and it's not really as cool. But one thing I do want to say about what started this conversation was the negativity. When the only reason I was preaching about not specifically shit talking games was because I shit talked so many fucking games, and I learned it was not okay.
Yeah, it's anti-productive, counterproductive.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not clean of that slate, right? Like I definitely once I started not liking Street Fighter V, I shit talked it.
Right.
Pretty hard.
It's kind of the
like
same
that.
lesson you learned with Kyle P, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, that was the same era, dude. Like, it was before that, before Street Fighter V.
See, I got that in before the episode ended.
There's always got to be one reference. Every episode's got to be.
And the sad part about it is Kyle P probably still has no idea that this is even happening.
No clue that there's just this joke ongoing. It's always happening.
Oh man, dude. It's funny. But I know you don't have any work or anything tomorrow, Tubo. But I probably figured that this might be a good time to just call it.
I think so, yeah.
Because
I think we hit the topics that we wanted to talk about.
And
anyway.
I only say this because I really haven't eaten anything today, and I'm getting really hungry.
Damn it, James.
So I need to get
It's
some
the
food.
start of his day.
Have a full glass of water and eat, please.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, man. Yeah, no, I'm actually getting kind of hungry, especially when you ate that donut. All I can think about is donuts right now, so...
Was that on stream? I hope that was on stream.
Yeah, that was on stream when you were eating the donut. Oh, man. No, but honestly, again, yeah, cool. Excited about some of the EA games coming out and everything like that. I know that's what we were talking about earlier, but don't talk shit about games that you don't like just because you don't like it. Let other people have fun and stuff. So
I'm just saying it's been also a recent topic for me, so that's another reason why I'm pretty vocal about it right now.
Okay.
It's because literally yesterday and today something has happened.
Oh,
So
really?
I just get annoyed about it. That's all.
People talking shit about something that just why bother?
It's just stop playing. Just
Right.
stop, please. Like,
It's real simple.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
You guys hear that meow there? All right. So, any last second thoughts that you guys have about anything?
Nope.
I
Okay.
think
Alright.
I've said my piece
Okay. And
about a lot of things today.
I will definitely keep an eye open for maybe SoCal, California job opportunities for you, Brandon, because I think it would be awesome to have you out here in SoCal, but, we'll see.
I don't recommend anyone live in Oregon.
Damn.
Just throw that shit out there.
Fair enough. All right.
Especially if you're a person of color.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, thanks, guys, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, guys, for hanging out here for Generation Spacing. And sorry, again, by the way, that last week's episode is not up on YouTube. My editor has all of a sudden had shit going down in his life as well. So I haven't had a chance to get that and edit that myself. So I'll be doing a lot of editing very soon because I got a lot of things to catch up on. So that's how it's going to go.
Just after food and a full glass of water, James.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right.
Brandon, I swear to God.
I'm going to bed.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for watching. And yeah, I don't know if any of us are going to sleep anytime soon. But peace out, guys. Have a good one.
All right.